Nobody's probably in yet. It's live, but it's not really live. You gotta wait a couple seconds.
Mute?
Yeah, mute. Make sure you're muted. Oh, got a Travi Patty ad.
Oh shit! No one's seen that.
Nobody's seeing that because they're watching an ad right now.
Dude, I hope that they can.
I need to turn that off. I have fucking opening ads on. I have front roll ads, which fucking destroys your viewer account apparently.
What? How do you know that?
It's
Did
just
Mr. Twitch tell you that?
no. That's what Twitch said. Twitch said you want to let your fans know when you're gonna run an ad, and I'm like, I don't fucking know when I'm running ads.
Yeah, no, but I think when we're watching, we can pause whenever we want.
Okay.
And just like shit, and we'll be a little bit behind, but it's fine. Like everyone else will watch
Let's
it like
not
us.
talk too much. Let's keep our comments for like 30 seconds if we're gonna pause.
I mean, we need to make it entertaining. We can't just like
I know, but we can do it without pausing.
make it short or smaller. Can you make it smaller?
Oh, I'm not making us smaller until
Oh,
the
okay.
thing starts. So
I
then
see.
they're focused on our sexy faces.
What's your opinion?
So while... yep, we're live now. So we should have people joining in a couple seconds.
Uh-oh.
Actually, you just buffered because we actually went live. It's so weird because it says there's 3 people in the chat, which means there's 3 people watching us, but it says 0 viewers. The viewer count's never accurate.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's always a couple.
I mean,
off.
they're not saying anything either.
That's fair. But there's like some people that are just lurkers.
You're a lurker, Ryler?
Dude, at me. Why don't you just at
Hashtag
me?
lurking.
Sorry, I gotta use Discord. Suck my PP. Oh my god! So many people.
Open.
Holy fuck. Hi guys. We got
How many
23
people?
viewers right
Hi.
now.
Hello,
We are about,
hello.
You are right next to the mic. You just
shit.
screamed, didn't you? Wait, put this on this side. So we are about 10 minutes away from the actual debates. We are so happy that you all decided to join us for your Tuesday night. I know you all have very pressing issues to attend to.
Like watching the debate.
Like watching the debate by yourselves. But now you get to watch it with us.
After tonight, we will know.
We're gonna be shitting on
Jersey,
these fools.
the debate, the chat wasn't updating, dude. Chill the fuck out, Jersey. Hi, Jersey.
With the state?
Hi, hi, Bridget. Hi, Bella. Hi, Free Real Estate. Hi, Jill. I can't see who else. We're fucking far away. I'm gonna look at.
Hi,
fucking
Casper.
Riley. Hi, Em.
Hi, Bird.
Hi, Alex.
Bridget. Bird. Howdy.
Casper's a dope name.
After tonight, we're gonna know, is it blue or is it gold?
What is?
Is that the question
That's
or
the
answer?
debate. It's all about the
Blue or
dress.
gold?
Blue or yellow.
Uh-huh.
I'm glad that
White
we're
and
talking
gold.
about this again.
Yeah?
It was definitely yellow.
Nah, it was blue.
I had a friend that
Purple.
actually had the dress.
Why?
Fucking, she owns the farms.
The farms? Which ones?
You know the farms that are her namesake?
Du Bois.
Well, yeah.
There you go. Don't, be careful. We got the webcam is hanging on by a string right now.
Loop-de-loop and pole. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty next
We're
level.
really set up here. Okay, pretend to be
Wow.
on Trump 2020 side.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you're watching it on Fox.
That's what I wanted.
We have to get.
Well, we're not gonna
what's
get
his
any
name?
commentary
We can get
anywhere.
the Infowars exclusive stream.
No, we can give. I think we should give commentary. We should just stop whenever we want.
Yeah, that's the plan, but we
Yeah.
gotta wait. We got
I think you should just turn off
10
the
minutes
volume.
still.
Turn off the volume of the debate and make up your own debate.
That's what we're saying.
what I was saying.
We're gonna debate the dress.
Pineapple on pizza or no?
We're glad you
is
all
swearing?
We're glad you
So
all
you
joined
pick
the
somebody to
presidential
be-
debate.
You pick somebody to be the moderator, and then you pick one person to be. Then you pick one person.
Oh,
to
no, I'm not being a moderator.
One person to be Trump and one
Riley's a
person,
moderator.
one person to be Biden.
I'm the moderator in the chat anyway, so I should be. The
I worked to finish up on Photoshop. I can't wait another. I was working on Photoshop today to set this all up. It was hell. It was very not fun.
All right, enjoy, guys.
See ya.
Oh, time of our lives.
But so, what are we all expecting from the debate tonight? I'm expecting Joe Biden to not know what he's saying.
Severe cognitive decline on both sides of the aisle.
Okay, good. Very excited for that.
Yep. I'm excited.
Which candidate's more likely to whip out their penis?
The moderator?
Who the fuck's the moderator? It's the Fox News guy.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's a bad idea.
No. He's like
Chris Wallace.
Chris Wallace.
So Chris Wallace is like this fuck that wants to be impartial now all of a sudden, but he's like, he's a Republican cuck.
Yeah. For
So-
sure.
He is registered Democrat though.
Oh really?
Uh-oh.
Who
Yeah,
said
but
that?
so he's a registered Democrat only because if he doesn't vote in Democratic primaries in DC, his vote doesn't matter. Because Democrats control DC. That's his reasoning. Alright, vodka or bourbon?
Vodka. Bourbon's too spicy.
Tequila.
Tequila tastes like feet. I mean, because
You wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm 21, so.
I honestly had to ask myself if you were 21 for a second.
Dude,
I'll never tell.
for all we know, we could be.
I'll never tell.
Haley's here.
You don't have tequila?
Marana.
Damn, we have 55 viewers.
Holy fuck! Hi everyone, this is Creeker News.
Welcome to the world.
This is the Creeker News presidential debate commentary. We don't know what the fuck we're saying.
We're about to see. Okay, so this is what's gonna happen, right?
The
So
debate.
Biden's gonna come in, right?
Mhm.
He's gonna come in with like Bruce Buffer on the side, like, everyone, we got on the right side, we got Biden, and then Biden rolls
Wait, it's
in.
gonna be like a fucking WWE showdown?
He's gonna get announced
Oh,
Wait,
fuck.
Trump's a wrestler, dude.
he's gonna get announced
Oh!
He's gonna get announced by Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay.
He's like, the
Hi, Mason.
returning champ.
The returning Trump.
Tunnel!
The orange freak.
And Biden's faced the wrong way.
It's like
Bob, where are you?
spotlights on them. Looking
This is
down.
in Vietnam.
Oh no! Neither of them are veterans. Both
So
of them.
are they gonna go for the how like in UFC fights there's like the
Yeah,
the
they do,
hand?
like, the knuckle
Are they gonna
ball.
do a little
No, they're gonna go forehead to forehead right next to each other.
But it's
They
COVID,
both
dude.
Go for the undergrab.
Yo, you think they're gonna come in with their masks? What's gonna be on the mask? What's gonna be on the masks?
It's gonna be.
I hope just regular surgical masks. That's my real.
Nah,
Are they gonna wear
like to
masks?
stay regular.
Trump's not gonna wear a mask.
No.
What?
Oh, that's interesting.
At best, a face shield. At best.
How dumb would that look though? Wearing a face shield?
Dude, we definitely have more than 55. I
think so?
Because like it was 55 just now.
Well,
and
fucking
then, like,
Riley still hasn't updated, and it says there's only 3 people in the chat. So
Only 3 viewers.
That's what we like to see.
thank you to all 3 of our viewers.
what is
Entirely
happening?
impossible frying
Oh,
potatoes.
can I say
something
something?
else. Yeah.
I saw something on.
Why are you?
What's up? I have to do this call. Give me a second. Oh wait, what's up? Sorry.
Whisper. We'll bring this close. Yeah, whisper.
I saw something on an ad for something the other day, and it was about. It was like a presidential debate, but it was like with puppets. Did you see that? And it was like
No.
And it was like
What are you talking
it was.
about?
Can I find it?
No.
I'm looking it
You're
up.
making shit up. Puppets?
Presidential debate puppets, and I was like, you're living in the Hunger Games.
I
Yeah,
like living in the Hunger Games.
Let me see.
I expected us to be like District 13 though. I thought we'd be nuked by now. Where's everybody from? This is an icebreaker now. I actually all tricked you. This is an icebreaker for your
We're gonna
college.
play Where the Wind Blows.
We're actually about to go into a Zoom breakout room.
Oh my god.
I hope you're all ready.
Show.
I'm gonna put this plate over here on this step ladder. So news we found out recently. This room's never getting redone, so I'm leaving up these sheets forever. Holy shit! So many people are in here. I'm from PA, Yeehaw, Michigan, North Carolina, Illinois. From the pits of the Hudson River, as you should. Timmy, did you ever see my tattoo? No, I didn't. You should send it to me. Kentucky!
I think this might be it.
Woo! I was near Kentucky.
Trump and Biden should be turned into puppets for Fox comedy special. Our human rights are a comedy special.
It's okay, buddy.
It really. Like,
New York! Why are you screaming? Let's all chill. Oklahoma! That's dope. I like Oklahoma.
half-hour satirical sketch show called Let's Be Real will cover politics and pop culture using puppets, including Trump and Biden.
That's awful. If you're covering politics with a puppet, I don't
wanna
respect your career choice or just like your artistic. Actually, I do respect puppets. I went to the Museum of Motion Picture and they had a display for the guy. Thank you, Free Real Estate, for resubscribing.
Oh no, it's the menace.
Potter,
It's
get
the
out!
menace. It's
Potter,
the
out!
menace.
He's trying to jump in. No, Potter, no. Oh my fucking god. Dude, size... no, it's not close. Size messing everything up. Yo, 71 viewers? 74! Holy shit. Hi, guys.
You're lying.
I'm not yelling.
You're literally
You
lying.
guys were yelling. Thank you all for being here. We're about to get started. We're about 4 minutes away from them making a fool of themselves like the WW fucking E.
We are actually in the Capitol right now. We're going to see...
live from the Capitol. We are about to watch the first ever Hunger Games between two old geriatric men.
I can't wait.
On the right side, we have known child molester Donald Trump.
And on the left we have the other one.
Known child molester Joe Biden. We're still waiting for Sai. Sai's on a call for some reason.
Yeah,
What do you think this is about?
I don't know.
He's coding an app.
Where were we when he answered a call? Also, we were like out and he like muted himself, but he was like part of like a meeting.
Dude, every time we're with him,
He's a fucking busy.
on a
He's
meeting.
a busy bee, bro.
He's a busy. Whenever we're talking about Creeker, I feel like a businessman. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
It's bumpy in here. Let's go. This is our biggest consistent stream. Thank you guys all for joining us. We're about to get started. Once again, 3 minutes away. We're at 74 viewers.
You gotta make sure you pull that.
Yeah,
At
make sure
least
you
a little
gotta
bit
pull it a little bit more.
Angry.
Who,
So,
Potter?
Tim,
I got it.
Tim has a loaf of bread with teeth that lives with him, and
What's up,
he is
gamers?
a genetic monstrosity, and he hates us. So there's that.
I think he's in love with
Dude,
you guys.
he
It's
like
fine.
he took a lick of me.
Yeah.
he was
Took a
getting
big
a
chunk.
taste.
Took a big
And it
chunk
was
out of
He
your
was getting a
head.
It was a
guys.
warm lick.
We
Bring me
shouldn't have a
pictures of
president.
Spider-Man.
I agree.
Yeah,
I actually have
actually,
in the beginning
for
of my
you?
Look at that. Wait, hold up. It's,
In the
it's
beginning-
delayed a little bit.
It still says 3 fucking people.
Should I reload the page?
Yeah, refresh.
What if
it.
we actually have
Sai,
3
you weren't
people?
here, but I found it. It's called Let's Be Real. It's a puppet show with Biden and Trump.
Oh, why does that look so creepy?
It's fucking terrible. It's awful.
None of us are drinking alcohol. I would like to participate in the drinking game.
This
that
is
has
what we're
to
gonna do.
with This,
We're gonna
okay.
do a push-up. Wait, what's the drinking game? We're doing push-ups.
Jumping jack! Jumping jack!
Dude, we'll fucking destroy the camera if we do any activity.
Any physical activity.
Yeah, it's
We get bit
literally-
by Potter.
Everybody takes a voluntary swipe at Potter, and we are about to get going. So I'm gonna shrink down the screen. We're gonna turn off the
Facts.
lo-fi.
Presents
and we're
are
gonna-
for losers.
We're gonna get back. We're gonna get back at this shit. So everybody get ready for the fucking debate that starts within 60 seconds. Wow, he looks fucking weird. What does this guy remind you of? The Goblin. From
Yeah.
fucking
Harry
Spider-Man.
Potter.
William Dafoe.
William Dafoe!
Yep.
Oh my fucking god. Thank you. Thank you for that. Awesome. Fucking Jesus. That was quick. I'm not gonna unmute them. I don't want to hear their
looks like my
voices.
mom.
She is my mom.
She does kind of.
Mommy!
That's an English teacher, dude.
Why am I
100%.
scared? You should be scared of this fucking shit.
She's the kindergarten teacher that you said.
Our democracy is in jeopardy. I don't want to unmute.
Wow,
these
you want to be a little
bitches.
bit more cross-eyed, buddy?
He's trying his fucking best. Okay.
His eyes are on different
Wait, I'm
sides
like
of the
out
aisle,
of
dude.
Move over a little
Yeah,
bit.
I got you.
Is that Dr. Oz?
No, that's
Come on! Wait a minute.
No, it's just every white man in Hollywood looks the same.
Ah.
Okay, so
no.
we're
You can
starting?
unpause it. We'll talk over a little bit.
Yeah, we'll
Three, two,
up the
one.
volume so they
This is
can
an
hear.
ABC News special.
Oh fuck! His hands do look so all over.
That we're in the battle for the soul of this nation.
Yes, sir.
So he, I
much
think
on
he
the
does know
line.
that it's about
The
human
wait
rights,
is
but I also,
over.
there's also the
Donald
chance
Trump.
that Joe Biden doesn't know where he is.
Dude, I think it's gotta take
I
him
forget
like.
who said it, but somebody said if we have to
Joe
put
Biden.
Joe
Who we
Biden
are
on the
as a
White House
nation.
lawn to stick up his
What
ass
we
like a
stand for,
scarecrow
most
for
importantly,
worth
who
it.
we want to
Because
be.
you can't
That's
handle
all
another 40
on
Trump
the
because it's
ballot.
going to be
See,
forward
the
of
thing
COVID,
is, you know
forward
the-
of
See,
environmental regulations.
Yeah, and it's like you
Right
can't
now,
elect
the
people, not
first
like
presidential
sorry, you
debate.
can't, like, select
Live from
people that are
Case Western
literally
Reserve
like heads of
University
gas companies.
and Cleveland
You
Clinic
know our
in
first
Ohio. New York
like that's
City.
on mobile
Now
CEO.
reporting chief anchor
No, you
George
know our
Stephanopoulos.
first
Good evening,
woman
welcome
president,
back to
the
our
one that
special
took over
coverage of this
for
first presidential
her
debate just
Moments
husband.
away now. Donald Trump
Oh,
and
Dingle?
Joe Biden will take the
Debbie
stage
Dingle?
for 90
Is
minutes.
that
Six
her?
topics
She's
on
a
the
representative, yeah.
No. I'm saying the first woman president, the one who took over for her
Oh,
dead
Woodrow
husband.
Wilson.
Yeah, Woodrow Wilson.
Like, he was just, like,
Right.
mentally not there.
Yeah,
or
She had a
something?
stroke, right?
And
Yeah,
she
yeah,
took
yeah.
over for like fucking
Calculates that
like
Joe
3,
Biden is
4
That was,
leading
like,
this
after.
debate
Like, no one knew
season.
about
That's
it.
what I'm
100%
saying.
chance
I'm
of
saying
winning the
that's
White
gonna be
House.
Joe
But there
Biden
are
and
three
Kamala
debates.
Joe
Harris.
Biden? Dude, imagine, like, at the end of this, he's like,
History of
Donald,
shaking
learn
things
my
up.
wife?
Our
Like,
Trump correspondent John
Let's see what
Carlson.
Dr.
I saw
says.
like
George, Donald Trump goes into this
What the
debate
fuck? Why
with
did we
his
start?
back against the wall by every publicly available measure. He
You
is
Are we sure we're on the
leading
right?
this
No,
race,
we are.
trailing in the national polls, no consistent lead.
Is this-
in
this
any
might
of
be
the
just a
top
commentary, dude.
No,
most
fuck it.
competitive
These
battleground
assholes.
states. He needs to
They were a
change the dynamic
scam.
of this race, and tonight
No, it is
is the
debate.
best
Begins.
chance for him to
Follow
do
along
it.
for all
He's
key
been here
updates.
before.
Oh my god.
Okay, go on,
Yeah,
find
so
another
let's
one.
go.
Find another one.
Collapsing, and he
I thought ABC,
We are
CBS wouldn't lie to
officially
me.
full tilt.
Go on Bloomberg.
Bloomberg?
Yo, Mike Bloomberg cannot lie, dude. My man is clutch. Oh, it hasn't started yet, see?
Oh, so it hasn't started. Oh, but Bloomberg is doing.
This is literally live streaming, dude. He's on fucking.
Do you think they're gonna
Periscope.
change the
He's
fucking?
on fucking Periscope.
Dude, so we're starting late.
We're streaming the stream, dude.
We're starting late
Wait, why? How?
because these bitches
Maybe
are
Biden's
like
getting
behind.
his, like-
Who's having a heart attack? Let's make a
these-
bet.
Trump.
Who's more likely to have a heart attack
These
right now?
hoes ain't loyal.
Trump.
Dude.
Oh wait. Is that the? No, that's not the walking.
That's him.
It's Ivanka.
Dude, who's in the fucking
Chief, he's
audience?
lost.
Who's in the fucking?
Wait, what does it
audience?
say? What does it say up here, dude?
Dude, how much?
That's
for,
I think in like the Union We Trust or some shit.
how much for tickets to this concert, dude? Can we mosh?
You gotta get fucking
Yo, when are we
put up your
moshing?
nose, dude. You need a COVID test to get in here.
It's general admission. There's fucking random people.
Let's go back.
Would you
Let's try
pay for
another
this?
one.
Would you
No.
pay to go there?
I
No.
would pay to go.
No, absolutely
if
not.
it
Not during COVID.
No.
Like, you better
Maybe
pay me to go
regularly,
there.
Yeah. You're paying me. Uh-oh.
Starting
Who's this?
soon.
And so I'm gonna watch for the contrast.
We're gonna be
between
Josh
those
Sutton and
two.
watch somebody
No.
else's video and stream it.
Hell yeah. That's the life.
Nah,
dude.
we just, I think it hasn't started yet. Let's go on Twitter.
Fox
Let's
News?
see.
No, wait, this isn't live. This was
Uh-oh.
37 minutes ago.
Wow.
Oh, Mike Pence? Let's just watch some videos while we're waiting. Let's just chill.
But like, what if it starts? while we're
Nah,
here?
I'll watch on Twitter.
Wait,
I'll just
which
keep
one is
track
it
on
on?
Twitter.
Is it supposed
So
to
just
be on
watch. Let's see
Bloomberg?
what Mike Pence said, dude. I'm
Let's see
curious.
what Mike Pence said. It's
And then we'll
fucking
talk about
9
it.
minutes.
Yeah, I don't want to hear what he had to say.
I don't really like. I don't like the guy who.
Let's just.
God,
Hey.
that guy is fucking.
Yeah, I don't like the guy that supports gay conversion therapies,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh god, they look so weird. They look like avatars you made in a fucking game.
They look like
Thanks
the.
for joining
the
us. I know you can
like-
barely
They
hear
look
us.
like you messed up like your
Set the table
your
for us.
avatar like mix up.
They look like when you first start the game and like you haven't applied any stats yet.
Well, that's him. I think the guy.
I want to hear what they're
Tremendous
saying, dude.
enthusiasm
Oh, look at this.
here, and we're literally just counting the minutes
She's looking-
from
wow.
when I know
No
President
masks.
Donald Trump
There's like 3
is
masks.
going to take our case to the American people and
Yeah.
Our
The
masks.
corporation.
Our masks.
Oh, what the fuck are you doing?
Our masks.
Glider lady, pull it back up.
But like nobody's wearing a mask. Are they
here
optional?
in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Maybe,
is just
probably,
about-
probably
What's
just not
happening?
enforced.
Dude, Pence wants it, dude. He wants to get fucked by the COVID
Dude,
disease.
He wants to get
What more
fucked.
precedent does this set?
Straight
People are gonna
launched
get
it.
sick.
Let me. No. This is the live Fox News one.
Oh, let's see
so
the show,
all the
let's see.
commentary.
Oh, Chris
they're gonna
Wallace,
say.
my book.
Oh, they started.
Each topic, I can assure you, none of the questions has been shared with the commission or the two candidates. This debate is being conducted under health and safety protocols
Bullshit.
designed by the Cleveland Clinic,
Woo!
which is serving the
Cleveland!
national
You were
security
there!
advisor
No, I was in
Hello,
Cincinnati.
Cleveland.
Ohio's very nice.
Hey, yo,
As a
Cleveland.
precaution,
I actually
both
do
campaigns
really like
have
Ohio.
agreed that
Ohio's very
candidates
good.
will not shake hands at the beginning of tonight's debate.
COVID, let's go.
I want to eat
The
these
audience
used
here
fucking
in the
hanky.
hall has promised to
Oh,
remain
we
silent.
just said
No
COVID isn't
no
real.
booze or other interruptions.
Wait, how can
so
he
we,
say that
and
when
more
we just watched a
importantly,
video
you
of Pence like
can
coughing into
focus on what the
somebody's mouth?
candidates have to say.
Dude, I love
No,
YouTube.
wait,
Dude, I love YouTube autofill captions. It said booze or something.
No, this isn't
And the
YouTube.
Democratic
This is
Can you turn up the
Fox's.
volume a
Vice
little bit?
President
I'm worried about the echo.
Okay, then
Yeah,
that's
I
fine.
can.
That's fine then.
I can try.
We'll just listen and chill.
Uh-oh.
Oh, look at that fucker.
King.
Orange boy. Oh, he said, well, who you are.
Dude, there's like 4 people in
This
the
is
audience.
so gross.
This is so cringy,
I
dude.
hate this.
Wait, let me move this here.
Look at Trump. Look smug as fuck.
I hate this dude.
Gentlemen, a lot of people have been waiting for this night, so let's get going. Our first subject is the Supreme Court. President Trump, you nominated Amy Coney Barrett over the weekend to
She's so scary.
succeed the late
Fucking
blue-eyed girl, dude.
She's so on brand for him.
You
Yeah.
say the Constitution is
She's a
clear
fucking bad
about
person.
your obligation.
No,
and
but
the Senate's
her picture,
to
her
consider
headshot is terrifying
a
to me.
nominee to the court. Vice President Biden, you say that this is an effort by the president and Republicans to jam through an appointment and what you call
I mean, that's fact.
an abuse of power. My first
like,
question
what else
to
do you call
both
that?
of you tonight: why are you right in the argument you make, and your opponent wrong? And where do you
What's that?
a Justice Barrett?
Oh, they
take
get
the
2
court?
minutes, dude.
President Trump, in this first segment, you go first. 2 minutes.
What? What kind of fucking question?
I will tell you very simply, we won the election. Elections have consequences. We have the Senate. We have the
you
White
don't-
House.
What is he talking
We have
about?
a phenomenal nominee, respected by all, top academic, good in every way. Good in
call
every
Notre
way.
Dame top
In fact,
academic.
some of her biggest
Nah, dude, I
got
stamp
endorsements
top of
endorsers
SUNY
are
system.
very liberal
Notre
people.
Dame's pretty good though. Notre Dame
Yeah,
Law
it is.
School.
I'm
And
just
other
trying to shit on
places.
her.
So I think she's going to
Either
be
way, like
fantastic.
the
We have
decisions that
plenty
she's
of
made
time.
really
Even
negatively
if we
affected
did it
you.
after
No,
the
100%.
election itself.
So,
We
like,
have a
as
lot
smart
of
as she
time
is,
after
Wait,
the election,
100%.
as you know. So I think that she will be outstanding. She's going to be as good as anybody
led
that
his
has served
argument
on
as
that
that
court. We really feel
elections
that.
have
We a
consequences.
professor at Notre
He
Dame
just
who
says
was
words
respected by
together.
all, said
That
she's
means
the
that's
single
bad.
brightest
Yeah.
student he's ever had. He's been a professor for a long time.
The
at a
thing
great
is,
school.
like, he could have just
And,
put
we
put
just,
like a
we won
kind
the
of.
election
He could have
and
put the
very-
Puerto Rican
we had
lady.
the right-
No. He could have put a
she's
very
right as
moderate,
very
a
few
moderate
people
judge that's
knowingly
just
would
right
say
on
otherwise.
Roe
Nah,
v.
it
Wade.
doesn't even
What I'm
matter.
saying,
It's like
what I'm
if she
saying
would've
is
gotten approved.
he-
If they had the only
his
difference
like
is they're trying
his
to do it
like
faster.
way
There's
of
no way they
speaking
would
is
give it
literally
up.
just like.
They had Merrick
I'm
Garland,
gonna give
but
it to
the
you straight,
problem
and he
is
just
they
says
didn't
nothing.
have
He's
the
to
he's
me.
very
saying
he's
nothing.
very
Stop.
tame right now.
And
I think
probably
we're not
that
going
would
to see
happen
like
in
real
reverse
Trump for
also.
like another
Definitely
20
will happen in
minutes.
Think
reverse.
so?
So
Yeah,
we won
because
the
I think he's
election,
very
we have the
vetted
right
for
to
this
do
right
it.
now, and I think in about
President
20
Trump,
minutes.
thank you.
His hair looks
Same question
very
to you,
wispy. I
Vice
agree.
President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
Oh shit. Okay.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this, and looking forward to this, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Jim.
The American people have a right to have a say in who the Supreme Court nominee is, and that say occurs when they vote for a United States senators and when they vote for the President of the United States. They're not
Come on,
going
you're
to
getting
get
there,
that
buddy.
chance
Please.
now because we're in the middle of
So
an election already. The
Yeah.
election has already started. Tens of thousands of people have already voted.
Dude, I'm hypnotized by his
So
time.
the thing that should happen is we should wait.
Well,
We should wait and see what the outcome of this election is.
No, it was a great
Because that's the
fucking
only
line
way
saying that the
American people
election's
get to
already started.
express
We've already
Their
voted.
view is by
'Cause
who
people
they
have.
elect
People
as
already
president,
voted a couple
who
days
they
ago.
elect as vice president. Now, what's at stake here is the
very
president's
scary,
made
I
it
see
clear
that.
he wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. He's been running on that. He
Joe
ran on
isn't
that,
gonna fuck
and
anything
he's
up.
been governing on that.
Did you watch
He's
the
in the Supreme
Democratic
Court
debates?
right now trying to get rid of
Joe's doing some good
the
shit
Affordable
right
Care
now.
Act,
Some good
which,
lines. These
will
are.
strip 14
This
million
is like watching paint
from
dry
having
and getting
insurance
super hype
insurance
about
Dude,
it.
but it's like
if it goes into court.
as
And-
boring it is
and,
as it is right
the
now. All
justice-
of these
and
little
I have
things will be
nothing
picked up
but
and
love
picked
towards
apart by
the
news
justice.
outlets
Dude,
for the
she
next
seems
2
like a
months.
very fine
Dude, why'd they give you
But
fucking
she's
like
written
no
before she
chocolate?
went
They
to
give you all the
election,
rest,
she's
didn't
right.
they?
That she
think so.
thinks that
Dude, his
the Affordable
tie
Care
is
Act
literally
not
hypnotizing my
constitutional.
eyes. You see
The
this
other thing
shit?
is
Yeah.
on the
Like,
court, and if
I'm
it
gone.
is struck down, what happens?
I'm shocked.
Women's
I'm
rights are
fucking high as hell
fundamentally
right now
changed.
looking at that time.
Once again, a woman
Watch
could be
this
held
hypnotism
more money
video for
because she
5
has a
minutes and
pre-existing
know what
condition
weed
of
feels like.
pregnancy. They were able to charge a woman more.
That's
for
a
the
very
same
true
exact
statement he's
procedure
saying.
a
That's
man
why
did.
the ACA helps,
Yes.
dude. It's
And
gonna
that
upcharge
ended
like
when we in fact passed the Affordable Care Act.
females that are pregnant.
And there's 100
That's
million
facts.
people who have pre-existing conditions, and
Thank you
they'll
so much
be
for the 100
taken
bits.
away as well.
Thank you so much.
Those pre-existing conditions, the insurance companies are going to love this, and so it's just not appropriate to do this before this election. If he wins the election and the Senate is Democrat or Republican, then he goes forward. If not, we should wait until February. All right.
There aren't 100 million people with pre-existing conditions. As far as the say is concerned, the people already had their say. They,
Six out of 10 Americans have
okay,
pre-existing
Justice
conditions.
Ginsburg said very powerfully, very strongly, at some point, 10 years ago or so, she said a president and the Senate is elected for a period of time. But a
Dude, she
president's
also
elected for 4
said
years.
that
We're
she
not
didn't
elected for
want
3 years.
someone
I'm
to
not
take her
elected for 3
spot
years.
in an
So
election.
we have the Senate, we have a president.
He's
And
elected
then you
to the
quote
next
in
During
RDD.
that period of time.
This
Yo, talk your
moderator-
shit. Talk your shit, bro. Talk
First
your
of all,
shit.
first of
We
all,
have
moderator's doing a
nothing.
terrible job because he
I'm
let
not
Trump
elected for
completely
3
cut off
years.
No,
Biden.
because it was a
For 4
response. I think it's
Yeah, I think it's like a
Million
target.
people, Joe, the 100 100 million people is
Yeah, talk
totally
your shit,
wrong. I
talk
don't know
your
where you
shit.
got that number. The bigger problem that you have
Don't
is
laugh,
that
bro.
you're
Just
going
talk
to
your shit.
distinguish
So bad.
180
So
million
bad.
people with their private health care.
Why am I so
That's
happy
simply
with.
not true.
Well, you're certainly going to socialist. You're going to socialist
This is,
medicine.
we're now into, gentlemen, we're now into open discussion.
Open discussion.
Open discussion. Yes, I agree. Go ahead, Vice President.
Number one, he knows that what I proposed.
It's very civil right now.
What I proposed
I know
is
it's only
that
been like 2 minutes.
He already called him a
expand
socialist,
Obamacare.
bro. Let's do our
Hey,
fucking
we-
push-ups, dude.
We do not wipe any. And one
He
of the big
does not
debates
want
we had
Medicare
was
for all.
23 of my colleagues trying to win the nomination that I won were saying that Biden wanted to allow people to have private insurance still. They can. They do.
Facts.
They will under my proposal.
Not what you said,
But
and it's not what
that-
you
No,
did.
he's literally saying that right now,
Doesn't say Your
dude.
party
That
wants
is
to go socialist
My
medicine.
party is
And
me.
What does
socialist
socialist
Right
medicine
now,
even
I
mean?
am
He's
the
just
dominant
saying
party.
things. You see what I'm saying?
Dude,
He's
it
just
means-
saying words.
It means insulin costs less than a computer, and that's not okay. That's not okay.
Socialist medicine. Oh yeah, let me get shot up with that socialist medicine, bro.
Inject
It
communism
means-
into my veins.
Socialist medicine is your flu shot being free.
200,000 people that have died on his
Okay,
watch.
well,
About to eat his-
How many of those?
Yeah, eat my hole.
Over 7 million people that contracted COVID. What does it mean for them going forward if you strike down the Affordable Care Act? And
Joe, you've had
pre-existing
308,000 military people dying because you couldn't provide them proper health care in the military. So don't tell me
I'm
about
happy
this.
to talk about
And if you were here,
Look,
it
here's
wouldn't
the
be
deal.
200. It would be
308,000?
Yeah, you let 200,000
because
people
you
die
were
from
very late
COVID,
on
bro.
the
Shut the
draw.
fuck up.
You
Late
didn't
on
want
the
me to
draw.
ban China, which was heavily infected. You
300
didn't want me to ban.
What?
All right,
When did he say he didn't want you to ban China?
I think in the beginning
You
he
would
did
have
say
been
Biden was
much
like a
later,
dick.
Mr.
Much
President,
later.
I don't even think
Mr.
Biden
President,
said
He didn't mean it like
President,
that.
as a moderator, we are going to talk about COVID in the next segment, but go ahead.
Let me finish. The point is that the president also is opposed to Roe v. Wade. That's on the ballot as well in the court.
Okay.
In the court. And so that's also
This is smart
He's
play.
opposed to Roe
And so
v.
the
Wade.
election is
Sure, Trump.
You don't know it's on the
Yeah.
ballot.
He's a
Why is it on the
Republican,
ballot?
dude.
because
Why
you
is it on the
said
ballot? It's not
you're-
on the ballot.
It's on the ballot in the
I
court.
don't think so.
In the court. Well,
There's nothing happening there.
Donald, would you
And
Don't be smug, bro.
What is he saying?
Wait,
I
you
don't
know
know.
our view.
Well, all right. Let's talk.
This is a competition.
Can I pause it?
We got a lot
No,
of
let
time.
it go on.
On health care, and then we'll come back to Roe v. Wade.
All right.
Mr. President, the Supreme Court.
All right,
here
bitch.
All right.
after the election.
All right.
Fuck
Along
you say.
with 18 state attorneys general
But it's
are
my
seeking
turn
to
to play with the
overturn.
toys.
I'm very glad I blocked
and
out the
Obamacare.
Fox
You
News
have spent the
symbol.
last-
Because they want to
if-
get
Oh, you
out of
did?
it.
Yeah, I not
questions.
purposely, but I fucking did.
No, they still have this shit here.
yeah,
last
dude.
sure.
4 years, you have promised
Don't make me get rid of
to
that, too.
replace
I'm sure I was eating
Obamacare,
like
but
a
you have never in these 4
I know, I'm
years
gonna keep
come up
eating,
with
but
a
I'm
plan,
like stopping myself.
a comprehensive plan
course
to
I have.
replace Obamacare.
Of course I have.
Well, I'll
I
give
got
you
rid
enough.
of the
He hasn't even
individual
put out a
mandate.
health
Give you
care
enough
plan
minutes.
I
yet.
got rid of the
He said
individual
he's
mandate.
gonna
which
put
was
it
a
out.
big
That is not a
chunk of Obama.
comprehensive
That
plan.
is absolutely a big thing. That was the
I
worst
didn't
part of
ask,
Obamacare.
sir.
Chris,
You're
that was the
debating him
worst
now.
part
Oh, fight,
of
let's go.
Let me ask
Let's
my
go.
question.
Throw hands, bro. Chris Wall, throw your
The
hands.
individual mandate was the most unpopular
Put that fist up, bro.
aspect
Put the
of
fist up.
Obamacare. I got rid of
Uppercut
it.
his ass.
To
Wait.
protect
Mr.
people
President,
with
I'm the
pre-existing
moderator of this
conditions.
debate, and I would like you to let me ask my question, and then you can answer
Go
your
ahead.
Okay, mom.
Holy shit.
Okay, mom.
He's a child.
Dude, he sounds like my grandma when she was on like the verge of death from
just
cancer.
This last Thursday,
God, that's-
you signed a
That's
Can
what
I
he
just say I-
sounds like.
can I just say I wish it was him?
protect people
Who?
with
I wish it was Trump
pre-existing
and not
conditions
your
5
grandma.
days before this debate.
Well, she died
So
like
my
2 years
question,
ago.
sir, is
That-
what
then we would
is
have
the
Pence
Trump
as
healthcare
president.
plan?
Well, first of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay. I'm not surprised.
Wow, what a
Let me
roast.
just tell you something. That there's nothing symbolic. I'm cutting drug prices. I'm going with favored nations, which no president has the courage to do because you're going against big pharma. Drug
when?
prices will be coming down 80 or 90%. You
When?
could have done it during your 47-year period in government, but you didn't do it. Nobody's done it. So we're cutting health care.
What about
All of the
pre-existing
things that
conditions?
we've done,
He has not cut
insulin. I
healthcare.
give you an example.
fuck did he
Insulin.
fight
It's
against
going to.
it?
It
No,
was
he did
destroying
fight against big
families,
pharma just
destroying
recently.
people
He like
because
cut some
I'm
prices
getting
down
it
for
for
drugs,
so cheap.
but it doesn't help, dude. He
It's
gives
like
those
water.
corporations
Doesn't
tax
matter.
cuts.
He's
So
big
cheap.
business.
Yes, that's
it
the
doesn't
thing.
matter.
He is that
What we're
1%.
doing,
Yeah.
Prescription drug prices.
want me to
We're
up-
going to allow our governors now to
lower
go
our
to
volume
other
'cause we're, like,
countries to buy drugs because
When in
they
fact-
pay just a tiny
As I
fraction.
say,
of
this
what
is
we do.
open discussion.
No,
Let
but
me
this
ask
is
you
big-
about.
this
You'll be
is big
happy,
stuff.
sir.
Let's
You'll
do
be
it.
Yelling at the
happy. I'm
moderator.
about to pick up
It's
on
very
one of your
cute.
points to ask the vice president, which is he points out that you would like to add a public option to Obamacare, and
Yes.
the argument that he makes and other Republicans make is that that is going to end private insurance.
It is
and
not.
well, if I can ask you the question, it will
Not
end.
what your party says, by the way.
It will end private insurance and create a government takeover of health care.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid. They can get that free in most states, except governors who want to deny people who are poor Medicaid. Anyone who qualifies for Medicare would, Medicaid would automatically be enrolled in the public option. The vast majority of the American people would still not be in that option. Number one.
Joe, you
Number
agreed
two.
with Bernie Sanders, who's far left, on the manifesto, we call it. And that gives you socialized medicine.
Look, hey,
Are you
I'm
saying
not
you
going to
didn't
listen to
agree?
him. The fact of the matter is, I beat Bernie Sanders.
Not by much.
I beat him a whole hell of a lot. I'm here standing facing you, old buddy.
Pocahontas would have left 2 days early. You would have lost every primary.
All he knows how to
on
do
Super
is hurt.
Tuesday. You got
Look,
very lucky.
here's the deal. I got very lucky. I'm going to get very lucky tonight as well. And tonight I'm going to
With
make
what?
sure, because
With what?
here's the deal. Here's the deal. The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agreed.
want to
Hey,
make
Joe,
sure.
you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
You ordered last in your class, not first in your class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that. He has,
You'd be surprised.
you pick
You'd be surprised.
the wrong guy, the wrong night.
What is happening?
Agreed with
Here's the
Bernie
deal.
Sanders.
Let him,
There is no manifesto, number
please
one.
let him speak, Mr.
Number
President.
two.
You just lost the left.
Number two.
You just lost the left. You agreed with Bernie Sanders
Hey, yo,
on a
Republican.
plan.
Folks,
Absolutely agreed
folks, do you have
to,
any
and under that
idea
plan,
what
you have
this clown's
socialized,
doing?
They call it
Mr.
You have any do?
socialized medicine.
Mr.
Well, I
President.
tell you what, he is not
Watch
for
out, Trump.
any
Somebody named
help
Trump
for
2020,
people
Trump 2020
needing
just
health
followed.
care. Because he in fact already has cost 10 million people their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession. Number one. Number two,
yeah.
there are 20 million people getting health care through Obamacare now that he wants to take it away. He won't ever look you in the eye and say that's what he wants to do. Take it away.
No, I want to give
Number
them better
three.
health care at a much lower price
But,
because
by the way,
Obamacare
he doesn't
is
know
no
how.
good.
He doesn't know how
I've
to do
already
that.
fixed it.
He has never
I've
offered
already
a
fixed
plan.
it to an extent.
He has never
Obamacare,
done a
as you
single
might
thing.
know, but probably don't. Obamacare
Gentlemen, you realize
is no
if you're
good,
both
Joe.
speaking at the
It's no
same
good,
time,
and it's too expensive.
let the president. Go ahead, sir.
Obamacare is no good. We made it better, and I had a choice to make very early on. We took away the individual mandate. We guarantee pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate.
When?
Listen, this is the way it is, and that destroyed. That they shouldn't even call it Obamacare. Then I had a choice to make. Do I let my people run it really well, or badly? If I run it badly, they'll probably blame him, but they'll blame me. But more importantly, I want to help people. Okay? I said you got to run it so well.
That's what he's
and I
known for.
just had a meeting with them. They said the problem is no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive.
I got it.
Premiums
I
are
got
too
it.
high, and
That's
it doesn't
what
work.
his- that's
So
what his people
we
say.
do
No,
want to
no,
get
no,
rid of it.
it's
Chris,
an
we
open-
want to get rid of it.
I
and
understand
give
it, sir,
something
but I
that's
have
cheaper
to
and
give
better.
you roughly equal time.
Good.
Please let
How's
the
his
vice
skin
president
color?
talk.
Good.
He has no plan for health care. He sends out
Thank you so
wishful
much for
thinking.
subscribing.
He has executive orders that have no
69
power.
years,
He hasn't lowered drug
Where's
costs for
69? It says
anybody. He's been
57.
promising a health care
69 's
plan
fucking sexy.
since he got
Nice.
elected. He has
Oh,
not.
that's
Like
the
almost
number, dude.
everything else he
69.
talks
That's
about.
the number.
Dude,
He
it's what they're
does
gonna be
not
doing
have a
later.
plan.
Trump and
Oh, yeah.
Biden.
He doesn't have a plan.
That's a lover's
And the
quarrel.
fact is, this man doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right,
He's
I have
against
one final question for you,
Sure.
Mr. Vice President. If Senate Republicans, we were talking originally about the Supreme Court here, if Senate Republicans go ahead and confirm Justice Barrett, there has been talk about ending the filibuster or even packing the court, adding to the 9 justices there. You call this a distraction by the president, but in fact it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democratic colleagues in the Congress. So my question to you is, you have refused in the past to talk about it. Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take on it, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote.
Camera over.
You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how
you gonna
strongly
pack
you
the
feel.
court?
Vote now.
you gonna pack the
Make
court?
sure you in fact let people know
talk about
your
the question,
senators?
Biden.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
would you answer that
because
question?
the question is
the Supreme Court justice,
the
radical
question,
left.
Would
Did he
you
say that he
shut
wanted
up,
to pass?
man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
This
Who's
is
on your
so,
list?
Gentlemen,
this is,
I think
this
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the court.
We have
I'm not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it? Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Joe.
They should be
The second subject is COVID-19. That's a serious subject. So
He said that was really productive,
let's
huh?
try to be serious about it. We have had more than 7 million cases of coronavirus in the United States, and more than 200,000 people have died. Even after we produce a vaccine, experts say that it could be months or even years before we come back to anything approaching normal. My question for both of you is, based on what you have said and done so far and what you have said you would do starting in 2021, why should the American people trust you more than your opponent to deal with this public health crisis going forward? In this case, the question goes to you first, sir. 2 minutes uninterrupted.
He got pissed.
Good luck.
Keep yapping.
200,000 dead. As you said, over 7 million infected in the United States. We, in fact, have 5%, 4% of the world's population, 20% of the deaths. 40,000 people a day are contracting COVID. In addition to that, about between 750 and 1,000 people a day are dying. When he was presented with that number, he said, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is because you are who you are. That's why it is. The president has no plan. He hasn't laid out anything. He knew all the way back in February how serious this crisis was. He knew it was a deadly disease. What did he do? He's on tape as acknowledging he knew it. He said he didn't tell us or give people a warning of it because he didn't want to panic the American people.
Yes, sir.
You don't panic. He panicked. In addition to that, what did he do? He went in and we were insisting that the people we had on the ground in China should be able to go to Wuhan and determine for themselves how dangerous this was. He did not even ask Xi to do that. He told us what a great job Xi was doing. He said we owe him a debt of gratitude for being so transparent with us. And what did he do then? He then did nothing. He waited and waited and waited. He still doesn't have a plan. I laid out back in March exactly what we should be doing. And I laid out again in July what we should be doing. We should be providing all the protective gear possible. We should be providing the money the House has passed in order to be able to go out and get people the help they need to keep their businesses open. Open schools that cost a lot of money. You should get out of your bunker and get out of the sand trap and get in your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans and fund what needs to be done now to save lives.
So if we would have listened to you.
You have 2 minutes, sir.
If we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000, and one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened. They stopped it from going in, but it was China's fault. And by the way, when you talk about numbers, you don't know how many people died in China. You don't know how many people died in Russia. You don't know how many people died in India. They don't exactly give you a straight count, just so you understand. But if you look at what we've done, I closed it, and you said he's xenophobic. He's a racist, and he's xenophobic because you didn't think I should have closed our country. Wait a minute.
It says 2 minutes.
You didn't think we should have closed our country because you thought it was terrible. You wouldn't have closed it for another 2 months. By my doing it early, in fact, Dr. Fauci said, President Trump saved thousands of lives. Many of your Democrat governors said, President Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked with the governor. Oh, really? Go take a look. The governors said I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. In fact, people that would not be necessarily on my side said that. President Trump did a phenomenal job. We did. We got the gowns. We got the masks. We made the ventilators. You wouldn't have made ventilators. And now we're weeks away from a vaccine. We're doing therapeutics already. Fewer people are dying when they get sick. Far fewer people are dying. We've done a great job. The only thing I haven't done a good job, and that's because of fake news. No matter what you say to them, they give you bad press on it. It's just fake news. They give you good press. They give me bad press because that's the way it is, unfortunately. But let me just tell you something. I don't care. I've gotten used to it. But I'll tell you, Joe, you could never have done the job that we did. You don't have it in your blood. You could have never done that job.
I know how to do the job.
They've basically been
I know how to get the job.
Well, you didn't do very well in swine flu. H1N1, you were a disaster. Your own chief of staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, not 200,000. There was no economic recession.
You made a
There was no recession.
You made a point. Let him answer.
And there was no one. We didn't shut down the economy.
And at the
This
end
is
of
his
the day,
economy.
it's not
It's being
that
he shut down. The
like,
reason
you
it's
have to
shut
take
down is
preventative action
because
right from the
look,
start. He knew,
you folks
like,
at
how
home, how
bad
many
it
of you got
could
up this
get. Like,
morning
he
and had an
has
empty
cause of
chair at the
duty.
kitchen
He
table
didn't murder
because someone
anyone,
died of COVID?
okay?
How
At
many
least
of you
he
were in a
hasn't
situation
murdered
where you lost your
babies. He
mom or dad and you couldn't
hasn't
even speak to them? You had a nurse
He
holding the
is-
phone
he- and then
up so you could, in fact, say
veteran
goodbye.
You would have lost far
How
more
many
people.
people?
Far more people. And you would have been
And by the way,
months late.
your own his
Months behind me,
his
Joe.
own CDC director says we could lose as many as another 200,000 people between now and the end of the year.
so
And he held up.
fucking
He said, if we just wear a mask, we can
Dude,
save
can you
half
fathom
those
200,000?
numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Just a
The
mask.
most he can
And
fathom
by
is
the way,
750,000.
in terms of the
Dude,
coordination of the
400,000?
vaccine,
400,000
we're for a vaccine, but
He's
I
done
don't
full
trust him at all.
damage.
Nor do you. I know you
400,000
don't.
is
What we
pretty
trust
much
is a
our,
scientist.
You don't
We trust Dr.
Johnson &
Fauci.
Johnson, Pfizer.
And it's like,
And
it's
by
a
the
good
way,
percentage of
and
America.
then-
Gentlemen, let me move on
No,
to
like 400,000.
questions about the
There's
future because you
300
both
million
have touched on
But
one of
that's a lot
the
of
two of the
people
questions
dying
I'm going to
to fucking
ask.
disease.
Yeah, it's like
Focusing
very
on the
close.
future
It's
first,
like
President Trump,
almost 0.5%.
you have repeatedly either contradicted or
put in
been at
flu with
odds
that?
with some of your government's
Yeah,
own top
it's
scientists.
scary.
The week
Flu's
before
bad this
last,
year, we're fucked.
the
It's
head
gonna
of
be
the
so many
Centers for
fucking
Disease
bad.
Control, Dr.
Get
Redfield,
your
said
flu
it would
shots,
be
guys.
And we
summer
still don't know,
before
like,
the
if the
vaccine
vaccine is good or
would
not.
become generally available to the public. You said
Oh, yeah,
that
he
he
told
was
you, right?
confused
He said to,
and mistaken. Those were your
inject
two
Clorox
words.
blood.
Drink bleach.
But Dr. Slowy, the head of your Operation Warp Speed, has said exactly the same thing. Are they both wrong?
Well, I've spoken to the companies, and we can have it a lot sooner. It's a very political thing because people like this would rather make it political than save lives. It is a very political thing. I've spoken to Pfizer, I've spoken to all of the people that you have to speak to. We have great Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and others.
Why is he
They can
hyping
go
up
faster
companies?
than that by a lot.
Because they
Become very political because the left, or I don't know if I call
So
them
you're
left, I don't know
suggesting
what I
that the
call them.
head of your Operation Warp Speed, Dr. Slowy,
I disagree with him. Yeah, no, I disagree with both of them.
So when,
And he
the
didn't
tax
say
thing
that.
comes
He
in,
said it
that
could be
says
there,
it?
but it could also be much sooner. I had him in my office 2 days ago.
He talked about the summer, sir, before it's generally available. Just like
He said
Dr.
it's a
Redfield.
possibility that we'll have the answer before November 1st. It could also
I'm
be
talking about
after
when it's
that.
generally available. not
Well,
when
we're
it's
going to deliver it right away. We have the military all set up. Logistically, they're all set up. We have our military that delivers soldiers, and they can do 200,000 a day. They're going to be
This
delivering
is the
the
same
vaccine.
man
It's
who
all
told
set
you
up.
by Easter this would be gone away. By the warm weather, it'd be gone. Miraculous, like a miracle. And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the
That
same
was
man.
said sarcastically,
That was
and you
him.
know that.
I
would have said
And
sarcastically.
so here's the deal. This man is talking about a vaccine. Every serious company is talking about maybe having a
This is the
vaccine
same man that said
done
inject
by the
bleach
end
in
of the
your
year.
arm.
But the distribution of that vaccine
And
will not
Trump's like,
occur
you know
until
that I said
sometime
that
beginning or the
sarcastically.
middle of next year to get it out. If we get the vaccine. And pray God we will. Pray God we will.
Mr. Vice President, I want to pick up
You'll have
on
the
that.
vaccine
I
soon.
want to
If
pick
you're
up on
with
this
Trump
question, though.
parents
You
right
say
now,
the
where are
public
your family?
can trust the scientists, but they can't trust
Where are your
President
mom?
Trump. In fact,
No,
you
your
said
dad.
that again
Your
tonight.
uncles.
Your running mate, Senator Harris, goes
Bro, just your
further,
weird uncles.
saying the public health experts,
Except we
quote,
didn't touch a
will be
kids. We're
muzzled,
just
will be
eccentric.
suppressed.
We're
Given
weird
the
because
fact
And
that
we never-
polls
and we never
already
married
show
somehow,
that
suspiciously.
people are concerned
See,
about the
I
vaccine and are
wish
reluctant
Joe
to
had,
take
like,
it,
a face,
are
and it
you
wasn't like
and your
his
running
skinny
mate,
bag,
Senator
and it was
Harris,
like his-
contributing
his, like,
to that
fucking
fear?
bars that he
No
came
more
with
than the
J.
question
Cole
you just
bars
asked
would
him.
have actually
You
worked.
pointed out. He puts pressure and disagrees with his own scientists.
But you're saying you
Everybody
can't, or
knows.
Senator
And-
Harris is saying you
no,
can't trust the
No,
scientists.
well, no. You can trust the scientists. She didn't say that. You can't trust.
She said the public health
Did say
experts,
that.
quote, will be muzzled, will be
Yes.
suppressed.
Well, that's what he's going to try to do. But there's millions of scientists. There's thousands of scientists out there, like here at this great hospital, that don't work for him. Their job doesn't depend on him. That's not. They're the people. And by
I
the way,
spoke to the
and
scientists that are in
by
charge.
the way,
They will have the vaccine very soon.
Let him finish.
do you believe for a
It's a pretty
moment
good school for academics.
what he's
Really
telling you,
expensive.
in light of all
And,
the
it's
lies
like
he's
Brandeis.
told you
Like, I was
about
gonna go to
the
Brandeis,
whole
but I couldn't
issue relating to COVID? He still hasn't even acknowledged that he knew this was happening, knew how dangerous it was going to be
if you're wondering
back
why
in
the
February,
moderator
and he
is
didn't
arguing with
even
them, it's 'cause
tell
he's a little
you.
bitch boy.
He's on
Chris
record
Wallace,
as
he
saying
always
it.
argues
He
with the candidates,
panicked,
even though
or
he
he just
tries
looked
to
at the
come
stock
off as an
market. One of the two,
impartial
because
moderator.
guess what?
He went
A
after
lot of
Biden.
people
Did you know
die.
that?
You know, he did.
And a
yeah.
lot more are going
Because
to
he's a
die unless he
Republican,
gets a lot smarter, a lot
So-
quicker.
Mr. President?
Did you use the
We'll
word?
bring him
Witness
back halfway
protection.
through.
Witness protection.
So you said you went to Delaware State, but you
Witness
forgot the
protection
name
is
of your college. You didn't go to Delaware
What do you
State.
guys
You
classes
graduated either
I
the
have a
lowest or
9:35.
almost the
I have a
lowest in your class. Don't ever
9:35.
use
I
the
had
word
80
smart with
yesterday.
me.
I have a 9.
Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what?
class tomorrow,
There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years you've done nothing.
Let's have this debate.
And if
We'll
you
see
would have
this.
had, let me just tell you something, Joe.
No,
If you would have had
Did I
the
tell you my politics
charge
class is
of what I was
I'm not allowed
put
to
through,
say
I had to
anything
close
about
the
it.
greatest economy in the history of our country. And by the way, now it's being built again.
See,
And
he's
it's
We're going to
going
get
up
to the
fast.
economy in the next segment, sir.
Okay.
It's going up fast. I look
Okay.
forward to talking.
When it comes to how
Yeah,
the
biggest thing
virus
is
has been
actually,
handled so far,
the presidential
the two
debates
of you
don't
have
matter.
taken very
They
different
don't sway
approaches,
votes.
and this is going to affect
They don't. That's
how
what
the
the
virus
statistics
is
say.
handled
Well,
going
in the
forward
last-
by
since
whichever
most
of you
of the
ends up
first
becoming the next
three
president. I want to
televised
quickly go
presidential
through
debates,
several
there
of
hasn't
those.
been a swing in
Reopenings.
votes.
Vice President
After.
Biden, you
The
have
problem
been
with
much
those
more
polls
reluctant
yeah,
than
the polls
President
say
Trump
that, people
about
coming to these
reopening
debates already
the
having their
economy
opinion
and
made up,
schools. Why
whether
so?
it be supporting
Because he
either
doesn't have a
candidate.
plan. If I
But
were
the
running,
thing is,
I
like,
know
we also live in,
what
like,
the
a
plan is.
globalized world
You've got to
where you
provide
have
these
Twitter, you have
businesses the
Instagram.
ability to have the money to be able
Yeah,
to
and I think
reopen with
that
the
people-
PPE,
and also the
as
election
well
hasn't
as
even
with the
fucking started.
sanitation they
The
need.
mail-in.
You have to
Tell
provide
that
them
to
all.
Nancy
That-
Pelosi.
that-
Yeah, and I don't know, like,
Well,
what a
he's just
viral
shush for a
clip
minute.
on Twitter is
Tell
gonna
it to
do.
Nancy
It's really
Pelosi.
gonna sway your
And
vote.
Schumer,
by the
Ryan
way,
Schumer.
Have the mental
Nancy
aptitude
Pelosi
to
and
know what's
Schumer,
right and
they
what's
have a
not.
plan.
The bigger thing is
He
trying to
won't
bring
even
more
meet with them.
donations.
The Republicans won't
It will-
meet with the
yeah, I
Senate.
mean, that's
he,
why-
and he
that's
sits.
what-
He sits on his golf course, and I mean, literally, think about it.
You probably
Or
play
think
more
about
than
it.
I do, Joe.
I don't think that matters.
What about this
All the
question of
debates are just
reopenings and the
entertaining.
fact
Well,
It's
he
just
wants
for us
to shut
be
down
like,
this country.
Oh, this dude's funny.
And
That's
I
why
want to
Biden
keep
should
it
have not done
open.
the debate.
And we
You
did
ju-
a great
he just
thing by
admitted
shutting
he
it
shut
down.
it down.
Wait a minute,
Let
Joe.
him
Let me
finish
shut
it.
you down
So
for a
wait,
second,
you guys
Joe,
can't
just for
hear
1
us,
second.
or you can't hear.
We want
I'd
to.
rather not hear.
He
than
wants
not
to
hear
shut
the
down the
debate.
country.
Okay, I'm
We
gonna
just went through it.
Mr.
We
Foley
had
a
to
little
because
bit.
we didn't
Fuck
know
you,
anything
Sid.
about the disease.
I
Now
saw
we
that
found
message. Fuck
that
you,
elderly
you piece of
people
poop.
with heart problems and diabetes and different problems are very, very
Oh, can you guys hear
vulnerable.
us
We
now?
learned a lot. Young
They
children
should be able to
aren't.
hear us. It's not.
Even
It's very
younger
close.
people aren't. We've learned a lot. But he wants to shut it down.
I
More
fucking
people
know,
will
dude.
be hurt by
Get the fuck
continuing.
out.
If you look at Pennsylvania, if you look at certain states that have been shut down, they have Democrat
That's our
governors
neighbor.
all. One of the reasons they shut down
President
is because they want to
Gamer.
keep it shut down until after the election
Hashtag-
on
Yeah.
November
I want to
3rd.
move on to another.
Because it's a
I want to move
political
on to another
thing.
subject.
Those-
I
I
want
think
to
we
move
should be good.
He's oppressed.
Those
wanna move
states
on to
are
another
not
subject.
we
doing
should be
well
good
that are
now.
shut
Which
down
is
right
now.
now.
Respond to that.
Once they
President
shut
Trump,
down
you
the
have
whole thing.
begun to increasingly question the
Right, guys.
effectiveness of masks as a disease preventer. And in fact, recently you have cited the issue of waiters touching their masks and touching plates. Are you questioning
No, I think
the
masks are
efficacy
okay.
of
You have
masks?
to understand, if you look, I mean, I have
he's
a
gonna
mask
pull out his
right here.
mask?
I put a mask on, when I think I need it.
When I
Tonight,
think
as
I
an
need it,
example,
bro?
everybody's had a test, and you've had social distancing and all of the things that you have to, but
Dude, some of
I
us
wear
record
masks
rally
when
that
needed.
close.
When needed, I wear masks.
Chris
Okay,
Wallace
let me
has
ask-
COVID,
I don't have.
dude.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's called
I will
being
say-
a good
I will
person.
say-
Vice President Biden, go ahead.
It's
sir.
called being
fucking
ethical.
sane.
Way
It's
to
called being
open
ethical.
businesses.
Trump,
is
if
give
Trump
them
were to
the
get
word
COVID,
for
you
people.
think if Trump were to
We
get COVID,
provided
like,
money.
He was just
they're
pretending
But I
to
was asking you, sir, about
No,
masks.
no, but like,
Well,
yeah.
masks
Like, he
masks
probably
make a
already
big
got it.
difference. His
No,
own
but you think
head
he
of
would, like, leak it
CDC
out?
said if we just wore masks
Is that
between
man
now,
fit?
if everybody wore masks in social distance between now and January,
You think you
we'd
can run a
probably
lap?
save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
And they've also
It
said the
matters.
opposite. They've
And
also said
no serious
One lap,
person
no.
said the
Half a
opposite.
lap.
They've
No
also said, well, look at,
serious
look
All right, I
at
wanna
Dr.
ask-
Fauci.
Actually, no, Joe
Dr.
Biden's
Fauci
kinda
said
fucking-
the
He did
opposite.
not
Biden
want to ask you. We got
said
a
very
minute
strongly,
left in this
masks
segment.
are not
So,
good.
there's a
Then he
clip of
changed his
him where
mind. He
he's
said masks.
cycling and everyone's
I'm
like,
okay with masks.
I
I'm
want to
not
ask you
fighting
both
it.
about one last subject because
he's on, like,
your different
bike
approaches
mode.
has even
And one of the
affected the
Fox
way
News
that you
reporters
have
like,
campaigned.
so you aren't in your
President Trump,
basement?
you're
And he
holding
goes,
large
"Shut up."
rallies
And he's
with
like,
crowds packed together, thousands of people.
Outside.
Outside, yes, sir. Agreed. Vice President Biden, you are holding much smaller events with
Because nobody will show up.
people with
That was a good
Nobody
line.
shows up to
That
a
was a
rally.
good
All right.
fucking
In
line.
any case,
But, like,
why
duh,
you
that's
holding the big
that's the
rallies?
point.
Why
You
you not?
fucking idiot.
You go
No,
first.
no, no.
You fucking
No,
moron.
But I'm saying that reinforces
But are you
his
not
point.
worried
That's
about it?
like
How does
so.
it work?
The event that he had in
35,000 people show up
Pod for
at
two of men
airports.
arguing
Those
that you
airports
Are you not
hangers.
worried about
We have a lot of
disease
people.
issues?
Well, so
Trump's?
far we have
Yeah,
had
but,
no
like,
problem
everyone
whatsoever.
Like his
It's
staff
outside.
members.
That's a big difference
The
according
big
to the
one. Yeah, I think it was last
experts.
Remember the one guy?
That's
We're
what
doing
the
outside.
TikTokers
We have
showed out, dude.
tremendous
They're like,
crowds,
they signed
as
up
you
for the
see. I
ticket.
mean, every
There was the one
and
Republican
literally
who
on
was like- who was
24
like,
hours notice.
COVID's not real.
And Joe
he
does
died
the
of
circles
COVID.
and has 3 people
Oh, I have no
someplace.
fucking
Okay.
idea.
The black
Dude,
guy.
this is
Yeah.
black guy.
And then, like,
One of
from
the
his
last
account,
big
like,
rallies
after he
had,
died, they're like, COVID's
and a
not
reporter
real.
came up to him to ask him a question. He said, "No, no,
Fucking
no,
moron.
stand back.
Oh.
Put on your mask. Put on a mask. Have you been tested?" I'm way far away from those other people. That's what he said. I can't. I'm going to be
just
okay.
enact a scene
He's not
from a
worried
fucking
about
movie?
you. He's not worried about
Dude,
the people
why-
out there
why doesn't he
breathing
have an
one
Oscar?
We've had no
It's a
negative
cheek to
effect.
jowl.
He always does a
No
little bit
negative
more of an
effect.
acting.
We've had no negative
Dude, he's been
effect.
in,
And we've
like,
had
politics
35,
for 50 years.
40,000
All right,
people
you wanna-
attending these rallies.
Just
Yes.
quickly finish
The
up
thing
because I
is,
want to
like,
move on to
everyone
our next.
Yes,
shits
I will.
on
He's
Biden
been
in
totally
terms of, like,
irresponsible the way in
public
which he
speaking
has
or stammering or
handled
stuttering, whatever.
the
thing is,
social
like,
distancing and people wearing masks, basically encouraging them not to.
All right.
Ben, he's a fool. On
This
it.
If
man's
you
been
could
fucking
get
doing
the
politics
crowds,
for,
you would
like,
have done the
half
same
a
thing. But you
century.
can't.
Like, it's like-
Nobody cares.
Gentlemen,
about
can we
all
move
that
on to
other
the
people.
economy? Gentlemen, can we
Some
move
of
on to
them,
the
they'll just get in
economy?
their car and they'll
The
drive,
economy
'cause it's like muscle memory.
is, I
Like
think
that.
it's fair to say,
Wait, wait, wait,
recovering
wait.
faster than expected from the shutdown.
Much
This-
faster.
In the second quarter, the unemployment rate fell to 8.4% last month. The Federal Reserve says the hit to growth, which is going to be there, is not going to be nearly as big as they had expected. President Trump, you say we are in a V-shaped recovery. Vice President Biden, you say it's more of a K-shape. What difference does that mean
we talked
to
about
the
that.
American people in terms
So
of the
K-shape
economy?
would be
President
flattening.
Trump, in this
Okay.
segment, you go
So
first.
it'd be up,
So
down,
we built
back,
the greatest
down. So that would
economy
be
in
the second
history. We
line,
closed
yeah.
it down because of the China plague.
and
When the
so,
plague
yeah, we
came
talked
in,
about
we
this
closed
with
it
Ben
down,
Challenge
which
when we
was
did
very
this year,
hard
and they fucking did.
psychologically
This
to
is
do. He didn't think we should
They
close it
called
down,
for
and he
it,
was
and
wrong.
we said they were.
And again,
that's what
2
fucking
million
shut down our
people would be
economy.
dead now instead of still 204,000 people is too much. One person is too much.
Dude,
Should have
your,
never happened from
fucking
China.
thing got, like,
But what
Y2K.
happened is
Dude, that
we
shit was
closed it
funny,
down,
though.
and now we're reopening.
I
And we're
watched
doing
it,
record
no.
business. We had 10.4
Watch this
million
whole- any
people in a
comments
4-month
too.
period that we've put back into the
Nah, the
workforce.
guy who I
That's a
stitched
record the
through
likes of
commented
which
was fucking
nobody's ever seen before. And he wants to close down he will shut it down again. He
'Cause
will
we're in a
destroy this
fucking
country.
plague.
You know, a lot of people, between drugs and alcohol and depression, when you start shutting it down, you take a look at what's happening at some of your Democrat-run states where they have these tough shutdowns. And I'm telling you, it's because they don't want to open
Like,
it.
as a
One of them
kinky
came out
dude.
last week. You saw
That's
that.
like what he meant.
Oh, we're going to open up on November 9th. Why November 9th? Because it's after the election. They think they're hurting us by keeping them closed. They're hurting people.
He called-
People know what to do.
he
They
called
can social
COVID-19
distance. They can wash their hands. They can wear masks. They can do whatever they want. But they got to open these states up.
Are you
When you look
fucking
at
me?
North Carolina, when you look, and these governors are
Why
under
is
siege.
he still here?
Pennsylvania, Michigan, and a couple of others. You got to
He's
open
a
these states up.
4-year-old in a
It's not
suit.
fair. You're talking about almost
he's
like
boss
being in
baby.
prison.
He's
And
fucking
you look
boss
at what's
baby.
going on with divorce. Look at what's going on with alcoholism and drugs. It's a very, very sad thing.
It's not
And
just
he'll
'cause
close
of
down the
COVID.
whole country. This guy will close down the whole country and destroy our country. Our country is coming
Whether you
back
liked it there or
incredibly
not,
well,
the country's headed to a
setting
recession,
records
dude. It's
as it
already
does
started.
it.
That's
We
the
don't
thing.
need somebody to come in and
It's
say,
already
let's
fucking
shut it
started.
down.
All right, your 2 minutes, sir. We're now moved to you. As I said, posing the question, the president says it's a V-shaped recovery. You say it's a K-shaped recovery. What's the difference?
The difference
an
is
A-shaped curve, dude.
millionaires and billionaires like him in the middle of the COVID crisis have done very well. Billionaires have made another $300 billion because of his profligate tax
Woo, billionaires!
proposal, and he only focused on the market.
That's all I
But
know.
you folks
Let's
at
go,
home,
Jeff Bezos!
you folks
Let's
living in
go!
Scranton
Jeff
and Claymont and all the
Bezos! Make
small
that
towns and
Amazon
working class
cash!
towns in America. How old are you doing? This guy paid
Well.
a total of $750 in
wrong.
taxes.
Sir,
Many
sir,
millions.
wait, no, sir. It's
Just
his.
take a shot
Yeah,
every
I
time
understand.
Trump
You've
cuts
agreed
off
to the
Biden.
2 minutes, so please let him have it.
Do I get my time back? The fact is that he is, in fact,
We're
worked
gonna
on
continue
this in a
right
way
after.
that he's going to be the first president of the United States to leave office having fewer
You don't want to be a
Biden
one-liner.
could be
his
a,
administration than
like
when
a
he became
fucking
president.
comedian.
Fewer jobs
No.
than when he became president. First one in American history.
Look at his
Secondly,
eyes.
The people who have lost their jobs are those people who have been on the front lines, those people who have been saving our lives, those people who have been out there dying, people who have been putting themselves in the way to make sure that we could all try to make it. And the idea that he is insisting that we go forward and open when you have almost half the states in America with a significant increase in COVID deaths and COVID cases in the United States of America. And he wants to open it up more. Why does he want to open it up? Why doesn't he take care of it? You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. And he has no intention of doing anything about making it better for you all at home in terms of your health and your safety. Schools. Why are schools open? Because it costs a lot of money to open them safely. You know, they were going to give, his administration was going to give the teachers and school students masks. And then they decided, no, we couldn't do that because it's not a national emergency. Not a national emergency. They've done nothing to help small businesses. Nothing. They're closing. 1 in 6 is now gone. We ought to get on the job and take care of the needs of the American people so we can open safely.
All right. Your time is up, sir. We are going to get to the...
I have to respond to that.
Well, you both had 2 minutes.
Excuse me, he made a statement.
So did you.
People want their schools. No, people want their schools open. They don't want to be shut down. They don't want their state shut down. They want their restaurants. I look at New York. It's so sad what's happening in New York. It's almost like a ghost town. And I'm not sure it can ever recover what they've done in New York. People want their places open. They want to get back to their people. They'll be careful, but they want their schools open. I'm the one that brought back football. By the way, I brought back Big Ten football. It was me, and I'm very happy to do it. And the people of Ohio are very proud of me. And you know how I got that? When he took
Gentlemen,
Maloney
we're going to
out.
get to your economic...
Ohio State football, you
motherfuckers!
I
brought
back
that
for me.
report that in
The most watched
2016,
sport
the
in
year you
history.
were elected president, in 2017, your first year as president, that you paid $750 a year in federal each of those years. I know that you pay a lot of other taxes, but I'm asking you the specific question. Is it true that you paid $750 in federal income taxes each of those 2 years?
No, I paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars of income tax. And let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers. I paid $38 million.
You know how much you owe?
I paid $27 million.
Show us your tax returns.
I went. You'll see it as soon as it's finished. You'll see it. You know, if you want to do, go to the Board of Elections. There's a 118-page or so report that says everything I have, every bank I have, I'm totally under-leveraged because the assets are extremely good. And we have a very, I built a great...
I'm asking you a specific question, which is...
Let me tell you.
I understand all of that. I understand all of that.
But let me see the federal income tax. Yes or no?
I'm asking you a question.
Come on, Chris.
Will you tell us how much you paid in federal income taxes in 2016 and 2017?
Millions of dollars.
You paid millions of dollars?
Millions of dollars,
So
yes.
not 750?
Millions of dollars, and you'll get to see it. And you'll get to see it. But let me just tell you... Chris, let me just say something. That it was the tax laws. I don't want to pay tax. Before I came here, I was a private developer.
Let me explain what the whole tax reform.
Like every other private person, unless they're stupid, they go through the laws, and that's what it is. He passed a tax bill that gave us all these privileges for depreciation and for tax credits. We built the building, and we get tax credits like the hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue. You get a massive, which, by the way, was given to me by the Obama administration, if you can believe that. Now, the man got fired right after that happened, but
Vice President Biden, you want to respond?
And that's the thing.
Yeah, I do want to
He's the
respond.
president, not the
Look,
fucking
the
not
tax
fucking Joe Biden.
code that made him, put him in a position that he pays less tax than a school teacher on the money a school teacher makes is because of him he says he's smart because he can take advantage of the tax code. And he does take advantage of the tax code. That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts. And I'm going to eliminate those tax cuts.
Did you just say good?
And make sure that we invest in the people who, in fact, need the help. People out there need help.
But why didn't you do it over the last 25 years?
Because you weren't president. Because you weren't president screwing things up.
You were a senator.
You're the worst president America has ever had.
Hey, Joe, let me just say,
Andrew Jackson.
In 47 months, I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe.
Trail
We've
of
done
Tears
things that you
forces
never even thought
hysterectomies,
of
which is
doing,
worse,
including
guys, which
fixing
is
the
worse.
broken
Are
military
we
that you
weighing
gave me.
atrocities?
We've
Let's
taken
put a
care
poll.
of
Let's put a poll.
Mr. President, we're talking about the economy. I'd like to ask you about your plans going
That's
forward.
it? They're not gonna
because,
ask him
Mr.
any
Vice
more
President, your
questions
economic
about
plan,
Dude,
if you were to be
there are
elected
literal
president,
ties to
focuses a
him
lot on
to
big
Russian
government, big
banks.
taxes,
Like
big
with his,
spending. I
son
want to
air
focus
travel
first
thing.
on the
Mail ordering his
taxes.
wife.
You propose more than
Okay,
$4
like, I did
trillion
that too, guys.
over a
There's no
decade in
reason
new
for, like,
taxes
How do you think
It's
Matt got
love.
here?
It's
individuals
love.
making more than
No,
$400,000 a year
but,
and
like,
on
the
corporations.
both of them.
President
They're
Trump
both-
says that kind of
The whole
an increase
It was
in
a package.
taxes
It was a
is
package
going
deal. It
to
was a
hurt the
two-for-one.
economy
Can
as
you
it's just
fucking
coming
blame
out
me?
of a recession.
Well, just take a look
They
at what
protect me.
the analysis done by Wall Street firms. Points out that my economic plan would create 7 million more jobs than his in 4 years, number one. And number two, it would create an additional $1 trillion in economic growth because it would be about buying American. That we're going to make this federal government spend $600 billion a year on everything from ships to steel to buildings and the like. And under my proposal, we're going to make sure that every penny of that has to be made by a company
But
in
respectfully,
America.
sir, I'm talking about taxes, not
Okay,
spending.
so when are they gonna talk
By
about
the way,
big
I'm going to
money
eliminate
brokers?
significant number of the tax. I'm going to make the
I'm tired of
corporate
the
tax
taxes.
28%. It shouldn't be
Big money
21%.
brokers are gonna
You
be-
have 91 companies,
If I was
federal, I mean, in the
I want to
Fortune
know
500
if
who don't
climate
pay a
change is
single
real or
penny
not.
tax,
God
making
damn
billions
it.
of
Why
dollars.
didn't you do it before you were vice
Because,
president with Obama?
because you, in fact, passed that. That was
That's right.
your
I got
tax
it.
proposal.
I got it done. And you know what happened?
you got it done.
Our economy boomed
And,
like it's never
and
boomed.
the economy
before.
is busted.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah,
finish.
Now, Mr. President, let me pick up on that. You would continue your free market approach, lower taxes, more deregulation, correct?
Not lower taxes for the American people.
Let me,
Excuse me.
but in
Like, let me
Obama's, you
change
talk
to
about
a
the economy
different
booming.
segment
It
every
turns
5
out that in
seconds.
Obama's final 3 years as president, more jobs were created, 1.5 million more jobs than in the first 3 years
they get a
of
little
your
pee break?
presidency.
They had the
I
slowest
thought so,
recovery
but maybe not.
since
'Cause we're
economic
halfway through
recovery
right now.
since 1929. It was the
But they also
slowest
started
recovery.
like 5 minutes late, so I
Also,
think it's 5
they
minutes
took
away
over
from
something that was down here. All you had to do is turn on the lights and you pick up a lot. But they had the slowest economic recovery since 1929. Let me tell you about the stock market. When the stock market goes
stock
up,
market
that means
doesn't work,
jobs.
dude.
It also
It's
means
literally fucking Amazon
401ks.
with Facebook
If
and,
you
like, the
got
tech
in, if
companies
you
that
ever
rule the
became
market.
president with your ideas, you want to terminate my
That's
tax,
just fact.
my
And
taxes.
oil
I'll
companies.
tell you
most
what,
of
you
America
lose
don't have
half of the
stocks.
companies
And
that
if
have
they
poured in
do,
here
right,
will
if they're-
leave,
don't.
and
So
plenty of
the
companies
ones
that
that
are
do,
already
the
here,
ones
they'll
that
leave
do
to
have,
other
like, their
places.
401ks
They will
in,
leave,
right?
and you will have a
And
depression, the
gains,
likes
they're not going to
of
make
which
any money. You know
you've
who's
never
going to make
seen.
money? It's
Look,
45
we
Bezos.
inherited
And this fucker right
the
there.
worst
This was part of my
recession
fucking,
short of a
Fed
depression
Challenge
in American
presentation.
history.
Yeah, 45%
I was
of
asked to
Americans
bring
think
it
that.
back.
So the-
We were able to
so
have an economic
50% of
recovery that
51%
created the
of
jobs you're
Americans don't
talking
own
about.
stocks. And the
We handed him
45%
a
of the
booming
49 that
economy.
do,
He blew it.
It wasn't
He
booming.
blew it.
10%
He
It
blew
wasn't
it.
in their
booming.
401ks.
It was the weakest
Right.
recovery
Sir, is it
since
fair to, wait, is it fair
4%
to, is it fair to say he blew it when, in
When
fact, there was,
COVID came.
when there was record low unemployment
Yeah.
before
Yeah, the stock
COVID?
market's doing well.
Yeah, but
boys. That means
because
that
what
the
he
economy's
did,
doing
even
well,
before
right?
Can I tell you
COVID,
why
manufacturing
stock
went in the
market's doing
hole.
well?
Manufacturing
Because he's
went in the
cutting
hole.
every other program
Number
in
one.
Chris, wait.
Number two.
Chris,
Number three.
They said it would take. No, you're a number
If you
two.
fucking
No.
straight on a dead
Chris,
island and cut off
Chris,
your arm and eat it,
they
you're going to
said
survive.
it
You
would
know?
take a
guy.
miracle to bring back
What the fuck?
manufacturing. I brought
Yeah,
back
when you're
700,000
fucking-
jobs.
When you-
They brought back
Dude,
nothing. They gave up on manufacturing.
manufacturing's gone
We did not
My
agree.
standard fare.
And that's just
I'm
a
the guy
fact.
He
that brought
totally
back
gave up
General
on
Motors.
manufacturing.
Let him
We brought back, I was asked to bring back Chrysler and General Motors. We brought them back right here in the state of Ohio and Michigan. He blew it. They're gone. He blew it. And in fact, they're going
Ohio
after
had the best year it's ever had last year. Michigan had the best year they've ever had.
That is not
Many
true.
car companies
No,
came in from Germany, from
is not
Japan,
sustainable.
went to Michigan,
that's the
went to
problem.
Ohio.
They're not
It's a
having
bubble.
They didn't
It's
come
going
in
to
here.
happen
Mr.
for the
Vice
short
President.
term.
And
then
so
in the
we
end,
take a
in the
look at
long
what he's
run,
actually
it's not
done.
going to benefit the country
He's
at all.
done very
And that's
little.
the problem,
His
that
trade
he doesn't
deals are
fucking
the
see.
same way. He talks about these great trade deals. You know, he talks about the art of the deal. China's perfected the art of the steal.
slowing down
We
our
have a higher
giant
deficit with
economic
China
growth
now
with
than
our
we did
fucking
before.
stupid trade
We have
war
the
with
highest
China.
I like his
trade
little
deficit
China
with
ate your
Mexico.
lunch
All
down
right,
18%.
gentlemen,
China ate your lunch, Joe. know, and no wonder your son goes in and he takes out. He
Dude,
takes
why does,
out
like, fucking
billions
Trump-
of
why is he
dollars.
still rich,
Takes out
right? And he
billions
has
of
the
dollars to
worst
manage. He
fitting
makes
suit.
millions of dollars. And
You're
also,
a better
while we're at
fit.
it, why is it, just
His
out of
suits
curiosity,
as, like, as
the
physical.
mayor of Moscow's wife gave his son $3.5 million. What did he do to deserve it? What did he do with Boris
Nah,
to
it's like-
deserve $183,000?
You've asked a question and an answer.
It's that?
None
Like,
of that is true.
and then it's like,
Totally
But
they're
no,
not
no,
earned
Mr.
enough.
President,
It's
Mr.
totally,
President, please.
totally
Vast-
You don't look
discredited.
good.
He's like,
Totally
Your wife
discredited.
looks
And by the
horrible.
way,
It's like,
Wait, he didn't get
No, no,
$3.5
Yeah, my
million
wife looks
yet?
horrible, and I
Mr.
love her
Vice-
He got
anyway.
$3.5 million.
President.
it is not true.
Oh, really?
Mr.
Oh.
President,
But,
it's an open discussion, please. You
Game is
have-
so comfy,
well,
right?
There's, it
you
is
have
not
raised an issue. Let the Vice
totally
President answer.
discredited.
Did
There was a
Burisma pay him
report.
$183,000 a month
I want to get closer to your
with
hole.
no experience and energy?
Fuck yeah.
Mr.
Look,
President,
my son did nothing
Yeah, little
wrong.
Riley
with
act.
Burisma.
I think he did.
Mr.
Yeah.
Only guy
President,
that
let him
did
answer.
I got my plumber
He
fit.
doesn't want to let me answer because he knows I have the truth. His position has been totally, thoroughly discredited and
The media.
by everybody. Well,
You
by
did
the
a whole
media,
thing
by our
because they refused to
allies,
talk
by the
about
World
it.
Bank,
How
by
about
every,
360 is a spin? A 180
by everyone
360 would
as
be if I flipped
discredited.
over and
Matter of
turned
fact,
this.
even
Mr.
the
President,
people who
please stop.
testified
360 was
under
if I did like a
oath.
flip.
So let me ask you this.
Under
Joe.
oath.
No, no,
Under
go
oath.
ahead, Mr. I'm listening to
Even the
you.
people under.
You got $3.5
He
million from
testified,
Moscow.
he testified
Holy
under
shit,
oath in
thank
his
you so much
administration
for
said,
gifting
I
10
did
subs.
my job and I did it very well.
Holy
I
shit,
did it
thank you
honorably.
so much.
Well, I'll give you the
Holy
list
fuck,
of the people who
thank you
testified.
so much.
Sure,
That's
you've
fine.
already fired most of them because they did a good job.
Some people don't
Well,
do a good
here's
job.
If you'd like to subscribe,
Would you-
Go ahead.
So
You get
here's the
wait
deal.
a minute. You get the final word. Mr.
Well, it's hard to get any word in with this clown. Excuse me, this.
Hey,
this
let me just
person.
tell you.
No, Mr. President.
$3.5
Mr.
million,
President.
Joe.
That is simply.
Why did he
not true.
deserve $3.5 million from
Did-
Moscow?
Look,
Every
here's the
fucking,
deal. We want to talk
Democrat
about families
debate.
and
every
ethics.
single debate.
I don't want to do that. I mean, his family we could talk about all night. His family's
My
already.
family,
No, no, let him go.
my family
Yeah, and then,
wrote
you know
a
what?
fortune by
You know what, you
coming down and
fuckers?
helping
Go
us
ahead.
with
Better follow our
government.
And that's
Every-
such a.
and the right
Guys,
way-
follow our
Mr.
That's
TikTok.
such a
Every
great.
single
We
one
love
of them
all
was
y'all.
This is not
69
about
of
my
honestly.
family or his family. It's about your family.
Endearing.
The American
Endearing.
people. He doesn't. That's not true. It doesn't want to talk about what you
down the full
need.
set.
You, the American people. It's about you. That's what we're talking about.
you
here.
should
All right,
Not
that's the end
about
of
here.
that's the end of the
Shouldn't have
segment.
taken the money.
We're moving on.
There's-
What?
He didn't take
You're
that.
Vice
better
President,
than the fucking-
no.
Can I be honest? It's a very important
Try to be
question.
honest.
No,
He
I-
stood
I-
up.
No,
he stood up.
the answer to
and
the
he
question is
threatened
no.
Ukraine
No, sir.
with $1 billion.
Mom said $1 billion.
You know what? You're,
Mom said I
true.
could get on the
You're doing
Xbox.
it.
you're going to have.
$1 billion for the Xbox.
I hate to raise my voice, but I see it
It's
to
my
be.
turn.
Why shouldn't I be different than the two of you? So here's the deal. We have
Wallace is the middle child.
6
my
segments.
God.
We have ended that segment. We're going to go to the next segment.
Mom
In
said
that
I can
segment,
get on now.
we
That's
are going
not
to
fair.
have two
Joe Biden's
uninterrupted
like,
moments.
Trump
In those
promised
2
5
uninterrupted
extra
minutes,
minutes of
Mr. President, you can
recess,
say
and he
anything you want.
Mom said it's my
I'm going to ask a question
okay?
about race, but if you want to answer
Yeah, you
about
just
something
forgot
else,
phone.
go ahead.
Is your phone
But
turned off?
I think that
I only
the
had
country
that.
would be
It's
better
supposed to
served
turn.
if we
Yeah,
allowed
actually can
both
turn on.
people to speak
Sweaty
with
Betty and
fewer
Joe.
Will they
interruptions.
hear it?
I'm appealing to you, sir, to do that.
They probably don't
And
have
him
to.
too.
Well,
good.
frankly, you've
I
been
just-
doing
I
more
can't even-
interrupting
Oh, that's
than
all
me.
right, but he does plenty.
Well,
I
less
think if you open the
than,
window,
sir, less
there's
than,
plenty.
no, less than you have.
We are literally
Let's
in a
please
warehouse.
continue on.
It's more of a
The issue of race.
Oh, yes.
Vice President Biden, you
Please
say
fund
that
us.
President Trump's
Yeah, please send us
response
money.
Every
to
time
the
I saw him
violence
stream,
in
I want to take a
Charlottesville
picture.
3 years
It'll get
ago,
better. It
when he
never
talked about
Please,
horrifying
Lord.
people on
Please,
both
just a-
sides,
just a crumb
is
of
what
something.
directly led you
I like the no, I do like it, but
to
the thing
watch
is,
this
the
run
thing
for
is,
president.
I did have a worse TV
President
before.
Trump, you
I
have
did
often
have
said
fucking
that you
this
believe you
TV.
have done more for
The
black
school TVs,
Americans
the
than any
roller ones,
president,
but
with the
not the
possible
VCRs.
exception
Oh,
of Abraham
sure,
Lincoln. My
that's
question for the two of you
It's literally
is
just
why
like
should
Fox
voters
TV.
trust
But it was
you
still
rather than your
fucking, like,
opponent
HD,
to
but it was
deal
a
with the
fucking
race
Fox TV.
issues
I said
facing
no,
this
Tim,
country
whatever.
over the next 4 years? Vice President Biden, you go first.
It's about equity and equality. It's about decency. It's about the Constitution.
Don't be a
And we have
constitution
never
fucker,
walked
dude.
away from trying to require equity for everyone, equality for the whole of America.
Facts.
But
Good line.
we've never accomplished it. But we've never walked away from it like he has done. It is true. The reason I got in the race is when those people, close your eyes, remember what those people looked like coming out of the fields carrying torches, their veins bulging,
Right.
spewing,
Holy
and
shit,
just
Thank you for gifting
spewing
another
anti-Semitic
tier subs.
bile
Thank you so
and
much.
accompanied by the Ku
Is
Klux
this the
Klan. A
same
young
dude?
woman got
Yeah, it's
killed.
fucking-
And
Yo,
they
that
asked
is
the
so
president what he
dope,
thought.
dude.
He said there were very
Let's look
fine
at
people
your name.
on both sides. No
Len?
presidents
Len
ever
Finish
said anything
Len
like
Cunningham
that.
84? Len Cunningham 84?
Now,
You are literally
second point
disciple
I
We gotta
of-
write their names.
is that when
This isn't
Floyd was killed. When Mr. Floyd was
Call me
killed,
by your name.
there was a peaceful protest in front of the White House.
We might
What
have
did
to
he
suck
do?
your toes.
He
like,
came out of his bunker, had the military
Like Armie Hammer's kid.
tear gas on him so he could walk across to a church and hold up a Bible. And then what happened after that?
Oh my God,
the
thank
bishop
you.
of
He
that
just,
very
he
church said
gave
that
some
it was a
bits.
disgrace. The general who was with him said all he ever wants to do is divide people, not unite people at all. This is a president who has used everything
I'll
as
dream
a
about you,
dog
Lincoln.
whistle
Don't worry.
to try to generate racist hatred, racist division. This is a man who, in fact, you talk about helping African Americans. One
so sick,
in
though.
1,000
We got, like,
African
70
Americans
with the
has
phone,
been
right? Yeah, we have
killed
50
because
right
of the
now. But we hit,
coronavirus.
we were like
And if he
76
doesn't do
for
something quickly,
solid
by the end of the year, 1
But
in
we're not done. We still have more
500
time.
will have been killed. 1 in 500 African Americans. This man is the savior of African Americans. This man cares at all. This man's done virtually nothing.
very small
Look,
behind your
the
eyes.
fact is that you have to look at what he talks about.
Yeah, you can.
You have to look at what he
Super
did.
good.
And what he did has been
It's
disastrous
color.
for the African American community.
So,
President Trump, you have 2 minutes. Why should
part of the
Americans trust you over your opponent to deal with
he
racism?
did a crime bill, 1994, where you call them super
Please don't suck
predators,
my toes.
African
One
Americans,
time asked us
super
not to suck
predators,
his
and they've
toes.
never
Too
forgotten
late.
it. They've never forgotten it,
We've already
Joe.
started.
No,
We're on
sir,
our way.
it's his
We've
2
already
minutes.
So
started.
you
We
did
actually
that, and they called you
astro-projected,
super
so if you
predator,
feel your
and I'm
toes
letting
getting a
people
little
out of
soggy,
jail
that was
now
us.
that you have treated the African American
A little saturation on your
community,
your
you
socks
treated the
come
black
off.
community
You see your
about
socks
as
come
bad
off.
as anybody in this
Look the
country.
other
You
way.
did the 1990, and that's why
not a
if you look
poltergeist.
at the polls,
It's
I'm
my
doing
mouth.
better than any
Everybody-
Republican has done in a long time because they saw what you did. You call them super predators, and you've called them worse than that. Because you look back at your testimony over the years, you've called them worse than that. As far as the church is concerned, and as far as the generals are concerned, we just got the
There's a little
support
bit
of
of a delay,
200,
like
250
2.5 minutes
military leaders and generals.
You think your
Total
hands are bigger
support.
than Trump?
Law enforcement, almost every law enforcement group
I feel
in the
like my hands are
United
kinda small,
States.
too.
I have Florida,
Yeah, my
I
hands
have
are a little
Texas, I have Ohio,
Your hands are
I
way-
have
your hands are way bigger than mine,
excuse
dude.
me, Portland.
No,
The
really not.
sheriff just came out today and he said, I support
How-
President Trump. I don't think you have any
bigger your
law
hands,
enforcement.
Riley.
You can't even
Small
say the
boy.
word law enforcement because
Oh,
if
no,
you
you
say
got big
those
boy, too.
words, you're going to lose all of your radical left supporters.
Yeah,
And why aren't you saying those words, Joe? Why don't you say the
Wow.
word law
Holy
enforcement?
shit.
Because you know
yeah,
what?
you
If they
figured it out.
called us in Portland, we would put out that fire in a half an hour, but they won't do it because they're run by radical left Democrats. If you look at
know what he's
Chicago,
talking about?
if you look at any place you want to look, Seattle,
Radical
they heard
left,
we were coming in the following day and they
Democrats,
put
the
up their hands and we
police.
got back Seattle. Minneapolis, we got it
What if
back,
Trump
Joe, because
unironically starts
we
becoming
believe in
a
law and
cat?
order, but you don't. The top 10 cities and
Yeah,
just
he's
about
after
the
me, bro.
top 40 cities are run by Democrats and in many cases radical
Where's
left,
my
and
most
they've
recent
got
bill?
you wrapped around their finger, Joe, to a point where you don't want to say anything about law and order. And I'll tell you what, the people of this country want and demand law and order, and you're afraid to even say it.
All right. I want to return to the question of race. Vice President Biden, after the grand jury in the Breonna Taylor case decided not to charge any of the police with homicide, you said it raises the question, quote, whether justice could be equally applied in America. Do
Radical
you
Left
believe
HQ?
that there is a separate but unequal system of justice for blacks in this country?
Yes, there's systemic injustice in this country, in education, in work, and in law enforcement, and the way in which it's enforced. But look, the vast majority of police officers are good, decent, honorable men and women. They risk their lives every day to take care of us. But there are some bad apples, and when they occur, when they find them, they have to be sorted out. They have to be held accountable. They have to be held
Look at
accountable.
that. Shut the
And what
fuck
I'm going
up.
to
The
do as
system's
President of the
broken.
United States is call together an entire group of people at the White House.
Biden
Everything from the civil rights groups to the police officers, to the police
So
chiefs,
Biden doesn't support
and we're going to
Manny,
work
does he?
this out. We're going to work this out so we
Manny
change
says
the way in which we have more transparency and when
the
these
Manny will
things
not be
happen.
televised.
These cops aren't happy to see what happened to George Floyd. These cops aren't happy to see what happened to Breonna Taylor. Most don't like it. But we have to have a
Trump's their
system
name, dude.
where people are held accountable and by the way, violence in response is never appropriate.
He's never said anything
Never
about
appropriate.
it.
No.
Peaceful protest is. Violence is never appropriate.
But he'll
What
say
is
Kyle
peaceful
Rittenhouse,
protest? When they run through the middle of a town and burn down your stores and kill people.
That's
That's
not
you
doing
say
it.
peaceful
President
protest.
Trump,
No,
I'm
it's
not
not,
asking.
but you say it is.
President
not
Trump,
say
I'd like to continue with the
Yes,
issue
go
of
ahead,
race. I
please.
promise we're going to get to the issue of law and order in a moment. This month, your
me shit down,
administration
right? That's why we need
directed
hardwood
federal
floors,
agencies to end racial sensitivity training
He's like
that
a
addresses
pundit,
white
you know?
privilege
He can't
or
be- he
critical
can't be-
race
That's what they
theory.
call him, pundit.
Why did you decide
he's like-
to
that's
do
like-
that, to
he's
end
so
racial
unbiased.
sensitivity
Like, pundit is
training?
another word for
And
biased
do you believe that there is systemic
Like
racism
Sean
in this
Hannity's a
country, sir?
pundit.
I ended it because it's racist. I ended it because a lot of people were complaining that they were asked to do things that were absolutely insane. That it was a radical revolution that was taking place in our military, in our schools, all over the place, and you know it, and so does everybody
What
else.
is radical,
And he would know.
what is
Oh, it was
radical
totally
about
racist.
racial sensitivity training?
If you were a certain person, you had no status
Dude,
in
it's like-
life.
it's
It
like
was sort of a
completely different
reversal.
lights there now,
And if
like
you
it's
look at the
completely
people, we
gone.
would
The
pay people
funding is
hundreds
gone
of
for the
thousands of
embezzlement.
dollars to teach
We all
very
just
bad
sit and
ideas
shit.
and frankly very sick ideas. And,
this is all
and
hypothetical.
really,
We
they
did
were
do this.
teaching people to hate our
Sisters
country.
are-
And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that to happen. We have to go back to the core values of this country. They were teaching people that our country is a horrible place, it's a racist place, and they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Vice President
They're
Biden.
really fucking
Nobody's
talented.
doing that. He's
No,
just,
no,
he's
listen,
you're
they're
racist.
really super talented.
Here's the deal. I know a lot more about
You
this
don't
than you
need
do.
Let him finish.
Stickers and I.
The fact is that
Yo, these are
there
fucking
is
dope. And they were like,
racial
"You want one?" I was
insensitivity.
like,
People have to be made aware
And
what
so,
other
no,
people
she
feel
DM'd
like,
me, and I was
what-
like, so how much
what
for two? She was
insults
like, just
them,
$5
what
for
is
each. I sent her
demeaning
11.
to
She's gonna
them.
make a creepier
It's
one, and
important
that
that people
was
know they don't want to. Many people don't want to hurt other people's feelings, but it makes a big difference. It makes a gigantic difference in the way a child is able to grow up and have a sense of self-esteem. It's a little bit like how this guy and his friends look down on so many people. They look down their nose on people like Irish Catholics like me and grew up in Scranton. They look down on people who don't have money. They look down on people who are of a different faith. They look down on people who are a different color. In fact, we're all Americans. The only way we're going to bring this country together is bring everybody together. There's nothing we cannot do if we do it together. We can take this on and we can defeat racism.
Be an American and a big
During the
We're free.
Biden
I don't know how it goes.
administration, there was tremendous division.
Those were like the
There
7
was
words
hatred.
everybody
You
knows,
look
and you managed to
at
get like 3
Ferguson,
of
you
them
look
right.
at, you go to
I got
very, many
three.
places.
Proud
Look
to
at
be
Oakland. Look what happened in
I-
Oakland. Look what
I-
happened in Baltimore. Look what happened. Frankly, it was more violent than what I'm even seeing now. But the reason is that the Democrats that run these cities don't want to talk like you about law and order. And you still haven't mentioned. Are you in favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law. You follow it.
Are you in favor of law and order? Go ahead,
Yes, I'm
say
in
it.
favor.
You asked a question, let him finish.
Law and order.
Loses
Law
left.
and
Let
order.
him, let him answer.
Law and order with justice, where people get treated fairly. And the fact of the matter is, violent crime went down 17%, 15% in our administration.
All right.
It's gone up on his watch.
Went down
He-
much more
he
in
had-
ours.
All right, we're
He
now.
is
You're,
president of
Mr.
the
President,
United
you're going
States
to.
of America.
We
Mr.
were
President,
breaking every record in the
Mr.
book.
President, you're going to be very happy because we're now going to talk about law and order.
Places we had trouble were Democratic-run cities.
That's
and
exactly my question.
Democratic-
There has been a dramatic increase in homicides in America this summer, particularly, and you often blame that on Democratic mayors and Democratic governors, but in fact, there have been equivalent spikes in Republican-led cities like Tulsa and Fort Worth. So the question is this really a party issue?
I think it's a party issue. You can bring in a couple of examples, but if you look at Chicago, what's going on in Chicago, where 53 people were shot and 8 died, shot. If you look at New York, where it's going up like nobody's ever seen anything, the numbers are going up 100, 150, 200% crime. It is
cities.
crazy what's going on. And he doesn't want to say law and order because he can't, because he'll lose his radical left supporters And once he does that, it's over with.
Law and Order
But if
was
he
like-
ever
wasn't
got
that
to
like a
run this
state-
country,
Law
and
and
they ran
Order
it
was
the
a
way
thing
he would
from
want to
when
run
we
it,
were, like,
we
a
would
white
have
supremacist
our suburbs
no
would
way.
be gone.
Shut
By the
down
way,
suburbs.
our suburbs
Civil
would be
rights
gone, and you would see problems like you've
He
never
would
seen.
know a suburb unless he took a wrong turn.
Oh, I know suburbs.
He would not.
So much
I was
better.
raised.
Go ahead. Wait a minute.
I was raised in the suburbs. This is not 1950.
He's not
All these
wrong.
dog
Trump
whistles
never
and
lived in,
racism
like, the
don't work
suburbs. He's
anymore.
always been rich.
Suburbs are by and large integrated. There's many people today
Dude,
driving
Biden
their
came
kids to
from
soccer
Poughkeepsie,
practice
dude.
and or to
From the Bronx.
black and white and Hispanic in the same
Like,
car
bro,
as
chill
there have
out,
been
dude.
any
You're
time in the
privileged as
past.
fuck, too.
What
No,
really
but
is
he
a
came
threat
from, like,
But I
to
think
the
he did.
suburbs and
He
their
has a
safety
poor, like,
is his failure to deal with
that's who they're
COVID.
trying
They're
to-
dying in the
both trying to appeal
suburbs.
to is
His
the
failure
white
to deal with the
suburban
environment. They're being
And the
flooded.
thing is that
They're
you
being
can get a bunch
burned
of
out
suburban Karens.
because
Okay.
his
That's
refusal
what
to do
we
anything.
need, though.
That's why the suburbs are in trouble.
I do want to talk about this issue of law and order, though. And in the joint recommendation that came from the Biden-Bernie Sanders task force,
all interns
you
would get
talked
one
about,
job.
quote, reimagining policing. First of all, what does
me or get
reimagining
your toe.
policing mean, and do you support?
It means
Let
Union
me,
and
if I might finish the
Constitution
question.
forever.
What does reimagining policing mean, and do you support the Black Lives Matter
That's literally the same thing. You're
call
right.
for community control of policing?
Look, what I support is the police having the opportunity to deal with the problems they face. And I'm totally opposed to defunding the police officers. As a matter of fact, police, local police, the only one defunding it, his budget calls for a $400 million cut in local law enforcement assistance. They need more assistance. They need, when they show up for a 9/11 call, to have someone with them as a psychologist or psychiatrist to keep them from having to use
We're gonna
force
talk about that
and
as
be
like a
able to
deep
talk
dive
people
too, just
down.
like
We have
privilege
to
in
have
terms of
community
voting, you know?
policing like we had
I
before,
mean, like,
where the
the
officers get
legitimacy
to
of voting
know
for
the
third
people
party in this
in the
country.
communities. That's when crime went down. It didn't go up, it went down. And so we have to be engaged.
That's not what they're
Biden-
talking about, Chris. That's not what they're talking about.
that's
He's talking about
exactly-
defunding the police.
That is not true.
He doesn't have any law
Well, you,
support.
look,
He has no law enforcement
that's not
support.
true.
Almost
That's
nothing.
not. Look,
Oh, really? Who do you
And
have?
this is his
Name one
campaign
group
really.
that supports you. Name one group that came out and supported you. Go
Look,
ahead.
look.
Think. We have time.
we don't have time to do
No, no,
anything.
Yeah,
Think
so
about
if the
it.
cops are inherently bad,
Name
right?
one
And they
law
support you, doesn't
enforcement
that
group
make you a bad
that came
person?
out and
I think,
supported
gentlemen,
you.
I
What
think
is
I'm
the
going
fucking
to
straw
take
man
back the
argument?
There aren't.
moderator's
I don't
role,
think there
and
are any.
I want to get to another subject, which is the issue of protests in many cities that have turned violent. In Portland,
Look,
Oregon,
Biden
especially,
doesn't
we
need
had
to cater to
more
the
than
fucking
100
police unions to begin
straight
with,
days
'cause
of
police unions
protests,
generally fucking
which I think
support
you would agree. You
Republican
talk about peaceful
candidates. That's the
protests. Many of those turned into riots. Mr. Vice President,
And that's the thing.
you say that people who commit crimes should be held accountable. The question I have, though, is, as the Democratic nominee, and earlier tonight you said that you are the Democratic Party right now, have you ever called the Democratic mayor of Portland or the Democratic governor of Oregon and said, hey, you got to stop this, bring in the National Guard, do whatever it takes, but you stop the days and months of violence in Portland?
I don't hold public office now.
But let's be honest.
Former
Joe.
vice
Let's be
president.
honest. This
I've
is
made
just like
it
a debate
clear.
we could have.
I've made
It's
it
like,
clear in my
do you
public
really
statements
think
that
they're
the
fucking
violence should be
independents? Like,
prosecuted.
oh, I'm fucking
It should be
unsure.
prosecuted.
Like,
and anyone who
everyone
commits
being-
it.
But you've never called for the
right?
people,
He's not
the
Trump
leader.
is just a
Excuse me, sir.
horrible
You have
person.
never
Even if you're
called
a
for the
Republican,
leaders
right?
in
Do you
Portland
want this
and
idiot
in
tarnishing your
Oregon
country?
to call and
Because
bring in
they-
the National Guard and
And
knock
you're
off
already in
100 days of riots?
They can, in fact, take care of it if he just stay out of the way.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
Here's the thing.
I sent
Sorry,
in
no,
the
wait,
U.S.
ask him a
Marshals
question.
to get the killer of a young man in the middle of the street. They shot him, and for 3
Mr.
days,
President Trump,
Portland wouldn't do anything. I had to send in the U.S. Marshals. They took care of business.
Go ahead, sir.
And by the way, you know, his own former spokesperson said, you know, riots and chaos and violence help his cause. That's what this is all about.
I don't know who said that.
I do. I think Kellyanne Conway.
I don't think she said.
She said that.
Good night,
So here's the
Ellie.
here's the
It's all
point.
good.
wish
You
we
will.
were
The point is that
Stay healthy.
that's what he
I'm
is
gonna do a
keeps
much
trying to
lighter stream
rile
probably
everything up.
tomorrow on just, like,
He doesn't
a
want to
stupid
calm
video
things
game like
down.
Minecraft or something.
Instead of going in and talking to people and saying, let's get everybody together, figure out how to deal with
we'll
this.
probably have an Among
What's he
Us
do?
stream.
He just pours
And the
gasoline
news
in the
is much
fire
easier to digest,
constantly,
and that's gonna be
every
Saturday,
single
so-
solitary
Okay,
time.
and to
Yeah, and we're
end
thinking
this,
about
button
doing a
up this segment, I'm going to
podcast.
give you a
I mean,
minute to
changing the
answer, sir.
videos to also
You
putting
have
them on
repeatedly
Spotify.
I
criticized.
have to answer his
So you guys
statement.
just could listen.
You have
His
repeatedly,
statement.
you have repeat. No, you've been talking
You
back
made
and
a
forth.
statement.
I'm asking you.
I would love
you
to
know,
end it.
sir.
I would love to end it, and
You
we
know, if
would
you want to
very-
switch seats,
We would very quickly.
We could do that, but
I'd
I'm
send in the National Guard. It would be over. There'd be no problem.
Okay.
But they don't want to accept the National Guard.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing extremist groups. But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
Are you
I'm willing
prepared
to do
specifically
that, but
do it? Well, go ahead, sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
You want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
White
name.
supremacists and
Who would
white
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacists. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what his
idea.
His FBI director
Gentlemen,
said.
Well, then you know what?
No, we're done, sir. We're moving on to the next.
No, there's no done.
That's not an idea.
Everybody in your administration tells you the truth has a bad idea.
Can I tell you what?
You have no ideas.
Antifa is a dangerous,
all right,
radical
gentlemen,
group.
we're now moving on to the Trump and Biden records. When a president, I'm going to ask a question.
He's the worst moderator.
When the president seeks a second term,
it
is generally a referendum on his record. But Vice President Biden, you like to quote one of your dad's sayings, which is, don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative. And in this case, sir, you are the alternative.
But the answer that
Looking
Trump gave, it's just like you let
at
him
both
off
of your records, I'm going to ask each of you, why should voters elect you president over your opponent? In this segment, President Trump, you go first. 2 minutes.
No, dude,
because there has never been an administration or president who has done more than I've done in a period of 3.5 years. And that's despite the impeachment hoax. And you saw what happened today with Hillary Clinton, where it was a whole big con job. But despite going through all of these things, where I had to fight both flanks and behind me and above, there has never been an administration that's done what I've done. The greatest, before COVID came in, the greatest economy in history, lowest unemployment numbers. Everything was good. Everything was going. And by the way, there was unity going to happen. People were calling me for the first time in years. They were calling, and they were saying, it's time maybe. And then what happened? We got hit, but now we're building it back up again. A rebuilding of the military, including Space Force and all of the other things. A fixing of the VA, which was a mess under him. 308,000 people died because they didn't have proper health care. He was a mess. And we now got a 91% approval rating at the VA, our vets. We take care of our vets. But we've rebuilt our military. The job that we've done, and I'll tell you something, some people say maybe the most important. By the end of the first term, I'll have approximately 300 federal judges and Court of Appeals judges, 300, and hopefully 3 great Supreme Court judges, justices. That is a record, the likes of which very few people, and you know one of the reasons I'll have so many judges? Because President Obama and him left me 128 judges to fill. When you leave office, you don't leave any judges. That's like, you just don't do that. They left 128 openings, and if I were a member of his party, because they have a little different philosophy, I'd say if you left us 128 openings, you can't be a good president. You can't be a good vice president. But I want to thank you, because it gives us almost, it'll probably be above that number by the end of this term. 300 judges. It's a record.
Looking at both your records, why should voters elect you president as opposed to President Trump? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Under this president, we become weaker, sicker, poorer, more divided, and more violent. When I was vice president, we inherited a recession. I was asked to fix it. I did. We left him a booming economy, and he caused the recession. With regard to being weaker, the fact is that I've gone head-to-head with Putin and made it clear to him we're not going to take any of his stuff. He's Putin's puppy. He still refuses to even say anything to Putin about the bounty on the heads of American soldiers.
His son got $3.5 million.
And by the way, my son...
Wait a minute. Mr. President, your campaign agreed to both sides would get 2-minute answers uninterrupted. Well, your side agreed to it, and why don't you observe what your campaign agreed to as a ground rule, okay, sir?
He never keeps his word. Can you add
No,
back
no,
He's
I'm
a
not
person
asking.
that's
That was a
not
rhetorical question.
Can you
Go
add
ahead,
back
sir.
30 seconds?
Yeah, yes, you may have.
All right.
What
Go
the
ahead.
fuck?
So, thirdly, we're poor. The billionaires have gotten much more wealthy by a tune of over $300 to $400 billion more just since COVID. You in the home, you got
bend him over the
less.
table.
You're in more trouble than you were before.
Give him the old
In terms of
razzle
being
dazzle.
more violent, when we were in office, there were 15% less violence in America than there is today. He's president of the United States. It's on his watch. And with regard to more divided, the nation can't stay divided. We can't be this way. And speaking of my son, the way you talk about the military, the way you talk about them being losers and being
It's the story,
and just being suckers. My son
Lewinsky is
was
the butt
in
of a lot
Iraq.
of jokes,
He
but she
spent a
also
year
has
there.
a lot of money due
He
to
got
it.
he got
Monica
the Bronze
sucks, but
Star.
not like
He got the
Hillary.
Distinguished Service Medal. He was not a loser. He was a patriot, and the people left behind there were heroes. And I resent.
Are you talking
like
about
hell.
Hunter? Are you talking about
I'm
Hunter?
talking about my son, Bo Biden. You're talking
I don't
about.
know. I don't know, Bo. I know Hunter.
Yeah, you
Hunter
know
got
Bo.
thrown. Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true. He
For
wasn't dishonorably.
cocaine use. And he didn't have a job until you became vice president. Once you
None
became
of that
vice
is
president, he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow.
Yeah, what about your
in
fucking
various other
daughter,
places.
dude? You paid her
He made a
consultancy
fortune.
fees. What
My
about your
son,
And he didn't have a
fucking-
job.
My son.
What about your whole
like a
fucking
lot of
family,
people,
bruh?
Like a lot of people we know at home, had a drug problem. He's overtaken it. He's fixed it. He's worked on it, and I'm proud of him.
But why
I'm
was he
proud of
given
my
tens
son.
of millions
All
of
right.
But
dollars?
he wasn't given
All right.
tens of millions
He was
of
given
dollars. That
tens
is
of
totally,
millions of
that's
President Trump-
totally
President Trump,
discredited.
we've already been
totally discredited.
Like, it's expected,
We've,
but it's so
we've already been
fucked.
through
it's
this. I
not.
think the
It
American
shouldn't be.
people
No,
would
he's
rather
acting
hear
like he's
about more
perfect, and that's the
substantial
problem.
subjects. Well, you know,
It's not even
as the moderator,
perfect.
sir,
It's
I'm
like-
going to make a
I know, but when
judgment call
somebody
here.
gets $3.5 million
Okay, right.
from the
Let's talk
mayor
about-
of Moscow,
let's talk
That is
about-
not
I think
true.
it's a terrible
That
thing.
report is totally
Why did he get
discredited.
it?
I
Mitt
think,
Romney on that committee said it wasn't worth taxpayers' money, that report. It was written for political reasons.
you know, I'd like to talk about climate change.
So would I.
Okay. The forest fires in the West are raging now. They have burned millions of acres. They have displaced hundreds of thousands of people. When state officials there blame the fires on climate change, Mr. President, you said, I don't think the science knows. Over your 4 years, you have pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Climate
I don't think the
Accord.
science knows,
You have
actually.
rolled back a number
What?
of Obama environmental
The science is
records.
actually a little off on
What
this one.
do you believe about the science of climate change, and what
This is
will
what
you
I'm waiting
do in the next 4 years to confront it?
Nothing.
I
Pretend it
want
doesn't exist.
crystal clean water and air. I want beautiful clean air. We have now the lowest carbon. If you look at our numbers right now,
We
What
don't.
are you
are
talking
doing
about?
phenomenal.
Portland, you're
We're
lying.
having
San
destroyed
Jose,
businesses.
San
Businesses are
Francisco,
put out
we're all like
commission.
the worst
If you look
fucking
at
air
the Paris
quality.
Accord, it was a
for,
Like, the
disaster
entirety of
for
California is on
and
fire.
people
People
are
are dying
actually
because
very happy about what's going on because our
around here,
businesses
we
are
couldn't
doing
even
well. As far as the
fucking
fires are
see the
concerned,
It
you need forest
it was
management
literally
in addition to
70
everything else.
degrees to like 40
The
degrees
forest
because
floors are
smoke was
loaded up
blocking
with
out the
trees, dead
sun.
trees that are years
Are
old and
you
they're like
okay?
tinder and leaves and everything else. You drop a cigarette in there, the whole forest burns down. You've got to have forest management.
What do you
You've got to
believe?
have guts.
What do you believe about the science of climate change?
I believe that we have to do everything we can to have immaculate air, immaculate water, and do whatever else we can that's good. You know, we're planting a billion trees, the Billion Tree Project, and it's very
Do you
exciting for a
believe
lot of people.
that human pollution, greenhouse gas emissions contributes to the global warming of the
I think a
planet?
lot of things do, but I think to an extent, yes. I think to an extent, yes. But I also think we have to do better management of our forests. Every year, I get the call, California's burning. California's burning. If that was cleaned, if you had forest management, good forest management, you wouldn't be getting those calls. You know, in Europe, they have forest cities. They're called forest cities. They maintain their forests. They manage their forests. I was with the head of a major country. It's a forest city. He said, sir, we have trees that are far more, they ignite much easier than California. There shouldn't be that problem. I spoke with the governor about it. I'm getting along very well with the governor. But I said, you know, at some point, you can't every year have hundreds of thousands of acres of land just burned to the ground. That's
pretend
burning
like
down
climate change
because of a
isn't
lack
happening.
of
That's
man.
why
Sir,
it's
if you
happening.
believe in the
That is
science
why
of
it's
climate
happening.
change, why have you rolled back the Obama Clean Power Plan, which limited carbon emissions in
Because it
power
makes
plants?
you
Why
money.
have you relaxed?
Because it was driving energy prices through the sky.
Why have you relaxed fuel economy standards that are going to create more pollution from cars
Well,
and
not
trucks?
really, because what's happening is the car is much less expensive and it's a much safer car, and you're talking about a tiny difference. And then what would happen, because of the cost of the car, you would have at least double and triple the number of cars purchased. We have the old slugs out there that are 10, 12 years old. If you did that, the car would be safer. It would be much cheaper by
California, they simply
No, but you
ignore
would
it.
take a lot of cars off the market because people would be able to
if you
afford a
buy
car.
electric car,
So, and by the way, we're going to see how that turns out. But a
renewable
lot of people
energy.
agree with me. Many people. The car has gotten so expensive because they have computers all over the place for an extra little bit of gasoline. And and I'm okay with electric cars too. I think I'm all for electric
I'm
cars.
okay
I've given
with
big
them.
incentives
They're
for electric
okay.
cars. But what they've done in
They don't
California is
sound
just
as
crazy.
cool.
Vice President Biden, I'd like you to respond to the president's climate change record, but I also want to ask you about a concern. You proposed $2 trillion in green jobs. You talk about new limits, not abolishing, but new limits on fracking, ending the use of fossil fuels to generate electricity by 2035, and zero net emission of greenhouse gases by 2050. The president says a lot of these things would tank the economy and cost millions of jobs.
He's absolutely wrong, number one. Number two, if in fact, during our administration, the Recovery Act, I was in charge, able to bring down the cost of renewable energy to cheaper than or as cheap as coal and gas and oil. Nobody's going to build another coal-fired plant in America. No one's going to build another oil-fired plant in America. They're going to move to renewable energy, number one. Number two, we're going to make sure that we are able to take the federal fleet and turn it into a fleet that's run on their electric vehicles. Making sure that we can do that, we're going to put 500,000 charging stations and all of the highways that we're going to be building in the future. We're going to build an economy that, in fact, is going to provide for the ability us to take 4 million buildings and make sure that they, in fact, are weatherized in a way that, in fact, they'll emit significantly less gas and oil because the heat will not be going out. There's so many things that we can do now to create thousands and thousands of jobs. We can get to net zero in terms of energy reduction by 2035. Not only not costing people jobs, creating jobs, creating millions of good paying jobs, not $15 an hour, but prevailing wage by having a new infrastructure that in fact is green. And the first thing I will do, I will rejoin the Paris Accord. I will join the Paris Accord because with us out of it, look what's happening. It's all falling apart. And talk about someone who has no relationship with foreign policy. Brazil, the rainforests of Brazil are being torn down, are being ripped down. More carbon is absorbed in that rainforest than every bit of carbon that's emitted in the United States. Instead of doing something about that, I would be gathering up and making sure we had the countries of the world coming up with $20 billion and say, here's $20 billion. Stop tearing down the forest. And if you don't, then you're going to have significant economic consequences.
What about the argument that President Trump basically says that you have to balance environmental interests and economic interests, and he's drawn his line?
Well, he hadn't drawn a line. He still, for example, he wants to make sure that methane's not a problem. You can now emit more methane without it being a problem. Methane. This is a guy who says that you don't have to have mileage standards for automobiles that exist now. This is the guy who says that. Well, the fact that it's all true. And here's the deal.
We're talking about the Green New Deal, and it's not $2 billion or $20 billion, as you said. It's $100 trillion.
I'm talking about
where they want to rip down buildings and rebuild the building. It's the dumbest, most ridiculous. Where airplanes are out of business, where two-car systems are out, where they want to take out the cows too. Either, right? This is a $100 trillion. That's more money than than our country could make in
all
100
simply
years if we
not
want.
the case.
All right, let me, because I actually, wait a minute, sir. I actually have studied your plan, and it includes upgrading 4 million buildings, weatherizing 2 million homes over 4 years, building 1.5 million energy-efficient homes.
Maybe Len could do that.
So the question becomes, the president is saying, I think some people who support the president would say that sounds like it's going to cost a lot of money and hurt the economy.
What it's going to do is going to create thousands of millions of jobs, good-paying jobs.
But let him finish, sir.
He doesn't know. The fact is, it's going to create millions of good-paying jobs, and these tax incentives to people for people to weatherize, which he wants to get rid of. It's going to make the economy much safer. Look how much we're paying now to deal with the hurricanes. By the way, he has an answer for hurricanes. He says,
I never said that.
And here's the deal. We are going to be in a position where we can create hard, good jobs by making sure the environment is clean and we're all in better shape. We spend billions of dollars now, billions of dollars on floods, hurricanes, rising seas. We're in real trouble. Look what's happening just in the Midwest with these storms that come through and wipe out entire sections and counties in Iowa. They didn't happen before. They're because of global warming. We make up 15% of the world's problem. We, in fact, but the rest of the world, we've got to get them to come along. That's why we have to get back into the Paris Accord.
All right, gentlemen.
Wait a minute, Chris. So why didn't he do it for 47 years? You were vice president. Why didn't you get the world? China sends up real dirt into the air. Russia does. India does. They all do. We're supposed to be good. And by the way,
yeah, it's a vampire
he made a couple of statements. Wait, bro. The Green New Deal is $100 trillion.
That is not my plan.
That's
the Green
you want to rebuild every
is
building.
Not my plan.
You want to rebuild every
If he knew anything about
he made a statement about the military. He said I said something about the military. He and his friends made it up, and then they went with it. I never said it.
Okay.
What he did is he said he called the military stupid bastards. And he said it on tape. He said stupid bastards. He said I would never say that.
Play it.
So we can all chill.
Mr. Vice President, answer his final question.
The final question is, I can't remember which of all his rantings.
I'm having a little trouble myself, but and about the economy and about this question of what it's going to cost.
The economy.
I mean, the Green New Deal and the idea of what your environmental changes will do.
The Green New Deal will pay for itself as we move forward. You're not going to build plants that, in fact, are great polluting plants. You're going to build Green New Deal. No, I don't support the Green New Deal.
That's a big statement.
I support
the radical left.
I support the Biden plan that I put forward.
Okay.
The Biden plan, which is different than what he calls the radical Green New Deal.
All right, gentlemen, final segment, election integrity. As we meet tonight, millions of Americans are receiving mail-in ballots or going to vote early. How confident should we be that this will be a fair election, and what are you prepared to do over the next 5+ weeks, because it'll not only be to Election Day, but also counting some ballots, mail-in ballots after Election Day. What are you prepared to do to reassure the American people that the next president will be the legitimate winner of this election? In this final segment, Mr. Vice President, you go first.
Prepared to let people vote. They should go to iwillvote.com, decide how they're going to vote, when they're going to vote, and what means by which they're going to vote. His own Homeland Security Director, and as well as the FBI Director, says there is no evidence at all that mail-in ballots are a source of being manipulated and cheating. They said that. The fact is that there are going to be millions of people because of COVID that are going to be voting by mail-in ballots, like he does, by the way. He sits behind the Resolute desk and sends his ballot to Florida, number one. Number two, we're going to make sure that those people who want to vote in person are able to vote because enough poll watchers are there to make sure they can socially distance. The polls are open on time, and the polls stay open until the votes are counted. And this is all about trying to dissuade people from voting because he's trying to scare people into thinking that it's not going to be legitimate. Show up and vote. You will determine the outcome of this election. Vote, vote, vote. If you're able to vote early in your state, vote early. If you're able to vote in person, vote in person, vote whatever way is the best way for you, because he cannot stop you from being able to determine the outcome of this election. And in terms of whether or not when the votes are counted and they're all counted, that will be accepted. If I win, that will be accepted. If I lose, that'll be accepted. But by the way, if in fact he says he's not sure what he's going to accept, well, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter, because if we get the votes, it's going to be all over. He's going to go. He can't stay in power. It won't happen. It won't happen. So vote. Just make sure you understand you have it in your control to determine what this country's going to look like the next 4 years. Is it going to change? You're going to get 4 more years of these lies.
We will have 4 more years of COVID if Trump continues to be
Mr. President, 2 minutes.
So when I listened to Joe talking about a transition, there's been no transition from when I won. I won that election. And if you look at crooked Hillary Clinton, if you look at all of the different people, there was no transition, because they came after me trying to do a coup. They came after me spying on my campaign. They started from the day I won, and even before I won, from the day I came down the escalator with our First Lady.
You're still in the fucking office.
They were a disaster. They were a disgrace to our country, and we've caught them. We've caught them all. We've got it all on tape. We've caught them all. And by the way, you gave the idea for the Logan Act against General Flynn. You better take a look at that, because we caught you in a sense, and President Obama was sitting in the office. He knew about it too. So don't tell me about a free transition. As far as the ballots are concerned, it's a disaster.
What's he actually talking about, dude?
Solicited ballot. Okay, solicited is okay. You're soliciting. You're asking. They send it back. You send it back. I did that. If you have an unsolicited, they're sending millions of ballots all over the country. There's fraud. They found them in creeks. They found some with the name Trump. Just happened to have the name Trump just the other day in a waste paper basket. They're being sent all over the place. They sent 2 in a Democrat area. They sent out 1,000 ballots. Everybody got 2 ballots.
There's 2 more.
This is going to be a fraud like you've never seen. The other thing, it's nice on November 3rd. You're watching and you see who won the election, and I think we're going to do well, because people are really happy with the job we've done. But you know what? We won't know. We might not know for months, because these ballots are going to be all over. Take a look at what happened in Manhattan. Take a look at what happened in New Jersey. Take a look at what happened in Virginia.
So that was the question, but these guys
they're not losing 2%, 1%, which, by the way, is too much. An election could be won or lost with that. They're losing 30 and 40%. It's a fraud, and it's a shame. And can you imagine where they say you have to have your ballot in by November 10th? November 10th. That means that's 7 days after the election, in theory, should have been announced.
Okay.
We have major states with that.
Sir,
all run by Democrats.
2 minutes.
All run by Democrats. It's
President
a
Trump,
It's a rigged election.
you're going to be able to continue. You have been charging for months that mail-in balloting is going to be a disaster. You say it's rigged, that it's going to lead to fraud. But in 2018, in the last midterm election, 31 million people voted mail-in voting. That was a quarter, more than a quarter of all the voters that year cast their ballots by mail. Now that millions of mail-in ballots have gone out, what are you going to do about it? And are you counting on the Supreme Court, including a Justice Barrett, to settle any dispute?
Yeah, I think I'm counting on them to look at the ballots, definitely. I hope we don't need them in terms of the election itself. But for the ballots, I think so. Because what's happening is incredible. I read today, where at least 1% of the ballots for 2016 were invalidated. They take them. We don't like them. We don't like them. They throw them out left.
There are millions of ballots going out.
What you do is you go and vote. You do a solicited ballot, and that's okay, or you go and vote.
I'm asking you about the fact that millions of people
you go and vote. You go and vote, like
what
they used to in the old
millions of people.
You either do first a solicited ballot where you're sending it in, they're sending it back, and you're sending. They have mailmen with lots of it. Did you see what's going on? Take a look at West Virginia. Mailmen selling the ballots. They're being sold. They're being dumped in rivers. This is a horrible thing for our country. This is not going to end well. This is not going to end well.
5 states have had mail-in ballots for the last decade or more. 5, including 2 Republican states. And you don't have to solicit the ballot. It's sent to you. It's sent to your home. What we're saying is, they're saying is that it has to be a postmark by the time, by election day. If it doesn't get in till the 7th, 8th, 9th, it still should be counted. He's just afraid of counting the votes.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
No, I want to continue with you on this, Vice President Biden.
Chris, he's so wrong when he makes
in
this
fact,
statement.
no, excuse me. Vice President Biden, the biggest problem, in fact, over the years with mail-in voting has not been fraud historically. It has been that sizable numbers, sometimes hundreds of thousands of ballots are thrown out because they have not been properly filled out, or there is some other irregularity, or they missed the deadline. So the question I have is, are you concerned that the Supreme Court, with a Justice Barrett, will settle any dispute?
I'm concerned that any court would settle this because here's the deal. When you get a ballot and you fill it out, you're supposed to have an affidavit. If you didn't know, you have someone say that this is me. You should be able to, if in fact you can verify that's you before the ballot is thrown out, that's sufficient to be able to count the ballot because someone made a mistake and not dotting the correct I. Who they voted for, testify, say who they voted for, say it's you, that is totally legitimate.
All right.
Excuse me, Chris, when you have 80 million ballots sent in and swamping the system, you know it can't be done. You know it can't, and already it's been
so now
mail service delivers
gentlemen, in 8 states, we can keep talking. In 8 states, election workers are prohibited, currently by law, 8 states, from even beginning to process ballots, even take them out of the envelopes and flatten them until Election Day. That means that it's likely, because there's going to be a huge increase in mail-in balloting, that we are not going to know on election night who the winner is, that it could be days, it could be weeks,
could be months,
until we find out who the new president is. So first for you, sir, finally for the Vice President, I hope neither of you will interrupt the other. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm during this extended period, not to engage in any civil unrest, and will you pledge tonight that you will not declare victory until the election has been independently certified? President Trump, you go first.
I'm urging my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully, because that's what has to happen. I am urging them to do it. As you know, today there was a big problem. In Philadelphia, they went in to watch. They're called poll watchers, a very safe, very nice thing. They were thrown out. They weren't allowed to watch. You know why? Because bad things happen in Philadelphia, bad things. And I am urging my people. I hope it's going to be a fair election. If it's a fair election, I am 100% on board. But if I see tens of thousands of ballots being manipulated, I can't go along with that. And I'll tell you what, from a common sense,
does that mean you're going to tell your people to take to the street?
It means you have a fraudulent election. You're sending out 80 million ballots. They're not equipped to. These people aren't equipped to handle it. Number one. Number two, they cheat.
Funding.
They
so
cheat.
You're
They found ballots in a waste paper basket 3 days ago, and they all had the name military ballots. They were military. They all had the name Trump on them.
Vice President
You think
Biden,
that's good?
Vice President Biden, final question for you. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm while the vote is counted, and will you pledge not to declare victory until the election is independently certified?
Yes, and here's the deal. They count the ballots, as you pointed out. Some of these ballots in some states can't even be opened until Election Day. And if there's thousands of ballots, it's going to take time to do it. And by the way, our military, they've been voting by ballots since at the end of the Civil War, in effect. And that's what's going to happen. Why was it not? Why is it for them somehow not fraudulent? It's the same process. It's honest. No one has established at all that there is fraud related to mail-in ballots, that somehow it's a fraudulent process.
It's already been established. Take a look at Carolyn Maloney's race.
I asked you had an opportunity to respond.
Look at Carolyn Maloney.
Go ahead.
They have no idea what
Vice
happened.
President Biden, go ahead.
He has no idea what he's talking about. Here's the deal. The fact is, I will accept it, and he will too. You know why? Because once the winner is declared, after all the ballots are counted, all the votes are counted, that'll be the end of it. That'll be the end of it. And if it's me, in fact, fine. If it's not me, I'll support the outcome.
Dude,
and
let's
I'll be a
describe
president not just for the Democrats. I'll be a president for Democrats and Republicans. And this guy,
I want to
in
see an
fact,
honest
Okay,
ballot count.
gentlemen, you say that's the end of it? This is the end of this
An
debate?
honest ballot count.
We're
And I
going to
think
leave
he
it
does
there.
too.
To be continued as in more debates as we go on. President Trump, Vice President Biden, it's been an interesting hour and a half. I want to thank you both for participating in the first of 3 debates that you have agreed to engage in. We want to thank Case Western Reserve University and the Cleveland Clinic for hosting this event. The next debate, sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates, will be 1 week from tomorrow, October 7th, at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. The 2 vice presidential nominees, Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris, will debate at 9 p.m. Eastern that night. We hope you watch. Until then, thank you and good night.
I fuck this. You want to hold this? I want to fucking put on the lo-fi so we can talk a little bit before we end the show.
Thank you.
Fuck you. Jesus fuck. Shut up. Oh my fucking
Can I turn this off?
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck it. It's just wow. Fucking that's a lot to take in.
Tigeroo and M are helping us out here.
Who? What?
Oh, sorry.
Our mods.
Oh, Tigger.
Yeah.
That's that's fucking.
This is fucking bullshit. I'm sweating.
Yeah,
I need
I'm
some
fucking
McDonald's,
gross. Dude, there's still more. Don't fucking worry. You can still eat more donuts if you want.
I need so many fucking donuts.
Why did I exit?
Yo,
out
can I get like a
Spotify?
seltzer or like a water?
Yeah, we're gonna just close out the show first, and then we
Okay.
can fucking do all
What a
that. Want to
shit
thank you guys all for being here today. I know this is a lot to take in. This is a lot for anybody. This is so fucking draining for anybody that has to deal with this shit. I do not have jealousy of any of the people that do this as a job.
Yeah.
Even though this is as close as
It's very like mentally draining, yeah. And it's like you see shit and you see that it's all entertainment at the end of the day for both sides, you know. And it's like, are people actually getting fucking their mind changed about this shit? Do people realize like what's the stake of our democracy? You know, and it's like people need to understand that, especially if you're a Republican or like especially younger Republicans, right? They need to realize that Trump's done a lot of illegal shit.
yeah.
Illegal shit, bad shit, unethical shit, and you can't always be like, yo, this is my guy. Like, wow, look at Trump. He's the guy that's speaking for us.
Yeah.
Somebody said that's
Oh, my fault.
one thing I will say, just a general statement to everybody that's listening right now. A lot of you guys are students, whether you're in high school, whether you're in college, you know, whether you're working, you have other responsibilities that you have to deal with, and you also have to be a human, you have to be a citizen, you have to be a friend, sometimes you have to be a spouse.
Fine.
And that's hard. And I just hope that you guys are taking care of yourselves and not stressing yourself out too much with all that's happening here. What you can do is vote. You can't undo everything that Trump did. You can't undo everything that Biden did. You can't make them work together. You can't make one recede and allow the other to be president. There's no way you can control that. You can't control COVID. You just have to be a human being and take care of yourself.
And be decent. And that's the point.
Pay attention. And pay attention, because a lot of these things are happening, and there are people who are so overwhelmed by this that they choose not to listen. And I feel like, in my personal opinion, people like Trump will get away with it if you don't listen closely.
So I hope everybody gets through tonight, gets through the next couple months. We will be here with you every Saturday and every debate, and
we'll talk about it. We're gonna have our show talk about a little bit of it too, and we might do a segment in general, just talking about
follow,
this too.
subscribe to support. You know, just join us if you can. If you can't join us, there's a YouTube that we upload to every single week, and we also the VOD's also up for every 2 weeks after we do the video. If you want to watch the uncut version, we're going to drop a deep dive very soon. And, you know, this is draining for us as well as you, and I hope you're getting some water. I hope you get a good night's sleep tonight. It's pretty late now for at least people on the East Coast, and, you know, it's not very early for the people on the West Coast either. It's 7:30. You got to go to bed in the next couple hours. It is a school night, work night. You know, it's not the weekend. So I hope everybody's staying happy, healthy, and remember, we gotta just deal with this shit.
Yeah.
And,
And your vote matters. It really does.
Your vote does matter, and I hope you're all doing very well.
And it's not just your vote too. It's also like being aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And
It's
talking with your
participation.
friends, talking with your friends or family, whoever that
Being
even might be
here.
on the other side.
Yeah,
and even
exactly.
being here is
so, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow our TikTok.
Follow our
If
YouTube.
you're in the Discord, you're always going to be updated on the stuff we do. Always send updates and notifications in there, even if I'm not
Yes,
super
sir.
active.
YouTube, TikTok, Insta. What else did we say? Twitter.
Twitter. We're on everything. We
on
try
everything.
to do everything. If something else is your pace, or if you just like Twitch, just come support us on Twitch.
Yeah.
We do a lot of work for our Instagram posts. I think that's probably other than what we're
We
doing
just hit
on
100
Twitch.
followers. So that
Yeah,
was sick. Thank you,
our
guys.
Instagram is probably our most dedicated thing. I repost it on my story like pretty much every day because we post pretty much a story every day. And Tig's doing a movie night on the Discord on Saturday or Sunday.
I might pop in for that too.
So if you want to go pull up for that, there's probably a limit of 50, but you know, if you can make it, you can make it. And I love you guys so much. I hope you're all having at least a survivable night.
We hope we made it better.
Be well. Take care of yourselves.
We're gonna make it through this.